Bango niyang niluluto mo ah. Naburito mo yan.
Sa World Remit, naiintindihan namin ang iyong paglalakbay. Na minsan, kailangan lumayo upang makamit ang tagumpay. With ways to save more, when you send more, World Remit is here for you, so you can be there for them.
Okay, nako, magandang hapon ho. Welcome mo sa ating program. Ako po si SONNY LARAGAN. Ito po ang embassy natin, kaibigan mo. Nako, tuwan-tuwa ho ako ngayon. Ngayon ho, second round, iikot ho tayo. May ikot ho tayo sa ating mga dati nang nakapanayam ng mga ambassador. At nasa second round ho tayo. At excited ho ko dahil mahal na mahal ho natin itong ating magiging panauhin for today, no? Dahil siya ho ay was a very, very gracious host do sa ating mga kaibigan. Yung kumare kong si Marites Allen, of course, yung ating ni kumpare, o kumare na rin, kumpare, si Philip De Vera. Both of them were celebrating their birthdays at sila ay nandiyan dyan sa Prague nung nakaraan. Dadayo ho, babalik ho ulit tayo sa Czech Republic, mga kaibigan. Nakapanayam natin yung kanilang napakabait, no? At napakahusay yung ambassador, si Ambassador Jainal, no? Jainal, at si Conjan Indira, no? But tawagin ko muna. Teka muna, bago ka pala, mga kaibigan, nais natin pasalamatan ang World Remit, no? Kung magpapadala ho kayo, World Remit ho. Huwag niyo kalilimutan, mabilis, safe at maaasahan. World Remit. Ayan, tawagin natin yung ating magandang lalaki, kaibigan, makisig, no? Pinagpipitaga ng barkada, chokaran, repa PEPS, mga kaibigan, the one and only, PEPS Villanueva. PEPS, good afternoon.
Good afternoon naman, Sunny. At good afternoon sa mga nanonood dito sa UK and the rest of Europe. Magandang araw kung saan mang sulok kayo ng daigdig nandoon. Ano? You're watching Filipino TV Europe. Embassy natin, kaibigan mo, dito lang po. Huwag niyong kalilimutan, Filipino TV Europe. It has been a very busy week for us, Sunny. Nais kong i-congratulate yung St. Dominic's Priory Filipino Choir and Community for holding a very successful rosary procession, ano, with Our Lady of Manawag. Nagprosesyon at ang imahe na nandun was yung Our Lady of Manawag, which came all the way from the Philippines.
The original?
Oo, at yes, okay. And not original but a copy. And it is enthroned in the church already, no? Do sa priory. Meron siyang sariling lugar doon, no? And thank you also to the ambassador and Mrs.
So dito na yan, bale. Dito na yan.
For attending. Yeah. Nasa simbahan, no?
Yung kopya.
It's there. It has its own chapel. Ginagawa lang ngayon yung mga chapels but meron siyang sariling lugar doon sa simbahan, ano?
Okay. Good.
And then siyempre natutuwa kami at dumating si Ambassador and Mrs. Lagdameo at yung mga iba pa nating mga kaibigan. Nais ko ring pasalamatan at i-congratulate yung pamilyang Arando, no? Sina Marivicky, Angie, Georgina, Antonio there, at nagdala ng maraming pagkain, ano? Aside from the community na nag-potluck, nag-order din sila ng pagkain at nagpa-deliver doon. At natutuwa naman at nakakatuwa naman at talagang busog na busog, no? At sa dami ng chibog. Ginagamit pa ba yung term na yon, chibog?
I guess chibog, parang panahon na yata natin yung PEPS, Chibog, no? Oo, panahon pa natin yata.
Nakahalata yung edad natin, ano? And we were also fortunate invited to the soft launch, no? Yung soft opening ng Casa and Kin sa Soho. At nag-enjoy naman kami, no? Ng pagkain. Ikaw ba'y nakarating, Sunny? Hindi kaya yata nakarating?
Hindi. Saan yan? Yung sa ano, we were out in
Oo
Kent
nga.
yata. Oo, magkausap tayo nun, di ba?
Nasa
wala,
Kent
nasa
ka.
labas ako. We were out in Kent.
Pero Filipino TV Europe was there, no? Dahil ako naman, ako nakarating, no? You were supposed to go there Saturday yata, ako Friday, no? Ang kasabay mo pala dapat yung aking mga anak.
Oo. Hindi bale, I'll just go there na lang siguro on my own siguro. Dadaan ako. I'll have to remind Gina to come up with something, no? Para maihabol doon sa ating paper. Okay, well, yeah. Ito, nilalabas niya, no?
Maraming,
Asa na ba? Nawala yung, asa na ba yun? Sige, go ahead, Peps. Habang tinitingnan ko kasi itong pinopost ni... Ito.
Yeah. At nais ko rin nga batiin, no? Siya ay naka-quarantine ngayon sa Vatican City. Nandun na siya, no?
But, dumating na!
Sa end of the month pa daw siya pwedeng lumabas, no?
Yes.
Si Ambassador Myla.
Makahilig. Okay,
nanunood siya ngayon, no?
Yes, Ambassador. Mabuhay.
So hindi lang pala kahit nasa Manila siya, pati sa Vatican City nanonood siya ngayon sa atin, ano? Welcome to Europe. Welcome back to Europe, no? So Ambassador Myla Makahilig, no?
Okay.
So
okay.
Papakilala natin yung ating bisita.
Pakita ko lang ito yung some photos ito. Ito yung ating bisita, pero nagpapasalamat tayo sa kanya dahil winelcome niya ating kumare. Ayan, si Marites Allen. Ayan, sa Prague. Ayan, pati si Philip. At yung isa nilang kumare. Ayan, si Conjen, no? Oo, andyan. At saka yan si Ambassador. And they had this lunch sa tabi ng
Riverside.
Riverside. Kaya we want to thank, ayan, meron silang dinalaw yata isang pare, no? Okay. Yan. Anyway, ito na. Sige, pakilala mo na. Once again, para doon sa, siyempre, may mga first-time viewers dito sa ating programa.
Yeah.
Alam naman tayo, hindi lang tayo
pakilala
nakapanood sa
na natin
buong
sila
Europe.
nung round 1, no? Ng Czech Republic. Ngayon, round 2 na tayo. So, we'll just gloss over. Abogado po ito. He is a lawyer by profession and has been a member of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines since 1974, no? Ano yan? Very active yan sa Peace and Development in Mindanao, sa ARMM, sa MNLF, no? At mga iba pang mga panels as a legal counsel ng MNLF, no? So nag-specialize din yan in corporate, criminal, and election laws. At ano yan? Career Executive Service Officer, no? CESO. He's a CESO. The Ambassador Jainal graduated with a Bachelor of Laws sa San Beda College and a Bachelor of Arts sa Arellano University, no? At he's married to Mrs. Elise Jainal, and together they have 9 children, no? Pakilala natin, ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency, the current Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Republic of the Philippines, the Czech Republic. Haba, no? Kakabulol. Pero, His Excellency, Ombra T. Jainal.
Amba,
Good
afternoon. Welcome once again.
Good afternoon. Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat, sa ating mga kababayan dyan sa London, dito sa Prague, sa Czech Republic, at sa lahat na ng Europe.
Yes, Ambassador, it's nice to see you again. Once again, maraming salamat doon kay Marites Allen, kay Philip De Vera, yung aking kumare, no? And maganda, talagang beaming with pride sila na galing na talaga ni Ambassador, no? We had a grand time with the Ambassador. Maraming salamat doon, no, Ambassador?
Una-una, it's the other way around. Dapat kami magpasalamat dahil nagdala sila rito ng kasiyahan,
Well, maganda. It's nice. Kaya nga ito, we're gaining friends. Nagkakaroon, lumalawak ang ating mga friendships. Yung friends ko, nagiging friends nyo. And hopefully your friends, nagiging friends na namin ni PEPS, no? So lumalaki ho tayo. Sa mundong ito, life is short. We only live once. And I think it's best to have as many friends as possible. And good friends like you, no, Ambassador. And si Conjen, no? So, pakilala din muna natin si Conjen. Peps, pakilala mo nga.
Yes, medyo exciting na nga dahil alam pa doon sa mga comments section natin, puro pa-shoutout naman po sa taga Czech Republic, no? Ayan, Central Europe, ang daming puro mga nagpapa-shoutout sa Czech Republic, no? Later on, makikita niyo yung mga messages nyo, no? Papakita namin. But in the
Pabatiin
meantime,
lang natin.
pakilala na natin
Pabatiin
itong
lang natin.
ating pangalawang bisita. Siya ay isang minister and consul general na talaga namang career diplomat, ano? At from her first assignment, foreign assignment, was vice consul sa Toronto, Canada. And then naging consul siya sa Bahrain. From there, naging consul din siya sa Warsaw, sa Poland. And naging yung last year niya doon, yung last 6 months niya doon, was as CDA, Jersey d'Affaires, no? Sa Poland. And then from there, she moved as consul to Shanghai, China, no? At ang dami rin niyang naging mga posisyon sa Home Office. And she was involved sa mga bilateral relations of the Philippines with countries in Central Europe as director of the region at the Office of European Affairs, no? At naging director din yan sa ASEAN, hindi Asian, ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community at the Office of ASEAN Affairs, no? So ano rin to, talagang dalubhasa sa pagiging isang diplomat, ano? At prior to, well, yun nga, sa Shanghai nga pala siya, no? Shanghai, China. So ipakilala natin yung ating Minister and Consul General Indira C. Banyares. Conjen, good afternoon po.
Good afternoon, Conjen.
Magandang hapon, Sonny, PEPS. Magandang hapon sa ating mga tagapakinig at tagapanood mula sa London at lalong-lalo na dito sa Prague, sa Czech Republic at sa ating mga kababayan pa sa mga iba't ibang lugar ng mundo na nanonood ng inyong online show. Magandang hapon at nagagalak kami at natutuwa kami na may round 2 na. At
Yes.
para maibahagi natin ng gusto kung ano man yung mga programa at mga aktibidades ng embahada natin dito sa Czech Republic.
Okay. Wow. Welcome once again, Conjen, ha? Layo pala ng mga narating mo. Toronto, Bahrain, ano yung isa, Pao tuloy.
Shanghai.
Shanghai, At nasa Poland, no? Very extensive, no? Well, welcome to the two of you, ha? At I'm so happy, we're so glad, Peps and I are so really excited having you again, no? Dito sa ating programa. And makikibalita ula kami, no? I think that was a couple of months ago when we last spoke to you. Ambassador, kumusta na? Ano ba mga latest ngayon sa inyo dyan? Mga developments? Ang mga kababayan ba natin fully vaccinated na dyan? Are they asking your help in terms of, coordination with the Polish government? Ano na ba ho mga latest from the last time we've spoken?
Sa ngayon, wala pa naman pupunta rito na nangangailangan ng tulong. Pero we have always given them the necessary advice to our website on how to get vaccinated.
Ano yan? Sa inyo ba, dyan sa inyo ba, merong schedule ba? Ini-schedule ba sila? Kami kasi nakakatanggap po kami, Conjen, tsaka ambassador ng mga text messages dito. Kunyari, pwede ka na sa iyong GP.
Dito,
Paano ba style dyan? Ng mga Pinoy?
minsan
Paano
may
kayong,
schedule.
paano kayong
Mayroon
nababalik?
din dito sa Prague. Yes, mayroon regular na magpa-schedule ka. Pero on top of that, mayroon silang yung basta pupunta ka na lang. Walk-in. Doon sa
Walk-in.
train station, doon sa mall. So anybody can just go there and have themselves vaccinated.
Okay. Magaling.
Ang
Magaling
problema
pala.
rito, hindi yung availability of vaccine. Ang problema rito sa Prague, maraming mga taga rito ayaw magpa-vaccine. Iyon ang problema.
Kaya diyan ba aktibo ang gobyerno encouraging people to get vaccinated?
Very active,
Very active, no? Oo, okay.
But of course, this is democracy. So, you do not force people.
Okay. Ambassador, kayo ba, Conjen, from the time, itong last 2 months, meron ba kayong mga nagawang outreach or may planado kayong mga outreach programs? yung reaching out to your mga kababayans. By the way, before you answer that question, ano bang nasa sakupan ninyo, Ambassador? Ano ba yung mga countries na hawak ninyo? Is it just Czech Republic? For the benefit of our first-time viewers at yung mga mas kinakapanood na, no? Parang malaman lang. Ano ba nasa sakupan nyo? Ano ba nasa sakupan nyo?
Our coverage is only one, Czech Republic. Although there was a proposal when I first came here to include Slovak, but Austria said it is nearer to them, so I did not raise any. I said, let us respect their position.
O nga, kasi Czechoslovakia yan dati nung araw, di ba? Czechoslovakia.
Yes.
It's composed of Czech Republic and Slovakia, which
Yes.
the capital of which is Bratislava ba? Bratislava, no? Yan ang ano yan, capital niya, no? So, for the benefit of our mga viewers, Conjen, Ambassador, ilan ba ang mga Pilipino na nandiyan dyan na nasasakupan ninyo?
Latest count was
Only discount. Go ahead.
kunti lang, less than 10, 3,000 na lang. But that was a few months ago. Sa tingin ko ngayon, sobra na sa 3,000.
Ayan. Dumami na.
Actually,
sige.
the exact figure that we
Conjen,
have
go ahead.
right now, yes, actually the exact figure that we have right now is 3,017. Exact
17.
figure lang.
So 3,000 and then
3017.
3017. Okay,
That's
Conjan,
right.
ikaw na tanungin ko. Ano composition, anong klaseng mga trabaho, sino-sino ba yung mga kababayan natin dyan? Anong klase ng work? Siyempre, nagtataka tayo, may mga Pilipino pa lang sa Czech Republic. Ano ang mga trabaho nila?
Actually, if you look at it, Czech Republic kasi is known as factory of Central Europe. So, pagka ganon, they are more into manufacturing. So, our Filipino workers are welders, machine operators, warehouse operators, and some are also in IT. That's the bulk of our Filipino workers in the Czech Republic.
Welders, machine operators, bakit?
Warehouse
yung sabi mo,
operators.
So in short, factory
Kasi
workers.
Factory workers. Because we are known as, Czech Republic is known as, let's say, the factory of Central Europe. When I say that, they are into heavy machinery. They are into the automotive industry. They are known for their aerospace industry. So aside from tourism, that's the thing that not so many people know about. But that's the very reason why they're getting Filipino workers, because we are known for those skills. Welders, machine operators, we are into logistics, they are warehouse operators. We are also known for our IT skills. At the moment as well, actually, some time ago, if I recall, the last conversation we had, there was a question on whether the Czech Republic would be needing nurses. In fact, they do need nurses. And we actually made initial discussions already with the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs and also with the Ministry of Health. And we are just waiting right now for further information from our Department of Labor and Employment with regard to entering into a bilateral agreement on the hiring of nurses in the Czech Republic. So, as I mentioned before, we are in the early stages. We are also waiting for the arrival of our new labor attaché, who will be arriving in the first week of November. And so we can discuss this further now with the Czech government.
Maganda yan. So third round, we can have with us the new labor attaché. Have you had a labor attaché before? Or is this
No,
the first
this is-
time? The first time, right?
Yeah, this is the first time that we are having a labor attaché, because this is in reply now to the Czech migration scheme of the Czech of the government, wherein before, when the ambassador initially came, there was the Czech migration scheme that allowed only 1,000 Filipino workers in the Czech Republic. Beginning 2021, they increased that to 2,000 workers per year.
Okay.
And so we will,
yeah.
and that will be consistently increasing through the years. And so we really need a labor attaché to take care of the needs of our Filipino workers.
Okay. It could be you, Ambassador, or Konjan, who may answer this question. what is okay? You said Konjan, parang you're because there was a question before. How about nurses? And you said that parang there's sort of a campaign or to get these nurses over. But how do you guys communicate there? How do in Hungary ba would language be a barrier for the nurses, or people in Hungary talk in English as well? Are they English speaking as well? Because that's going to be the challenge of nurses. Okay, they're opening it to them, but would these nurses have to learn Hungarian? And is it a difficult language, or would English be the means of communication? Ambassador.
The work of nurses is really very unique. They have to be able to have a good understanding, communication with the relatives and the patients. So it is necessary that our nurses can understand and at least speak some words in Czech Republic. So in our initial discussion with the Ministry of Labor Department here, it was headed by a deputy minister. We tried to discuss the possibility of trying to use as model the program that is being done now by Germany in coordination, of course, with us in the Philippines to train some successful applicant to be able to have at least understanding of the language.
So it will be a requirement. So you've had this conversation with the government of representatives, officers. They have to at least learn the Hungarian language. Kailangan, di ba? To communicate with the patients
Czech
and the
language.
relatives. Tama ba yan,
Czech.
Konjan?
Czech language.
Yes, actually,
Oh,
it's
Czech
the
language.
Czech language. Yes.
Yeah, I should say.
And the ambassador was referring to the Philippines Germany triple win program, where at least the B1 level of German should be learned by Filipino nurses before departing for Germany to assume their work. So we don't have Czech education centers in the Philippines. We don't have, let's say, Czech language centers in the Philippines. So it's something that has to be discussed first on how our nurses could be able to learn the Czech language. Actually, from my discussions with one of the Filipino nurses here, and I would like to meet them, and I already informed Mr. David, who was the one who asked this question before. I said, to gather all the nurses, and so we can discuss on how to proceed with this with them while they are here already, because there's also interest to use them as perhaps the reference points on how to begin this program with them, because they are nurses, but they are not doing nursing job in the Czech Republic, and yet the Czech Republic needs a significant number of nurses for the next 5 years, because around 10,000 of them are retiring in the next few years.
Wow. Okay.
Dami.
Is the language, the Czech language, how do you call the language? Czech language? Czech, I don't know, is there like a particular Slav language? How do you call it? Slovak language?
It's the Czech, yeah, it's Czech language. It's close to the Slavic language. It's a Slavic language.
Is it difficult? Does it sound like Polish or Russian? How does it sound, Ambassador? Paano ba ano yan? How do they say good morning in
Twisted.
Czech? Paano good morning in Czech?
Good morning in
Dobrý den.
Czech is Dobrý den.
Huh? Dobre?
Actually, it's Dobrý den.
Dobre den.
But in Dobrý den, actually, in the Polish and the Czech language have some similarities, but the Czechs will say that they are not. But when you listen to some of their words, there are similarities. Let's say I was assigned in Warsaw before, So for them, dobry den is equivalent to dyan dobre. And mom is basically have. Nie mom is I do not have. And both are the same in Czech language and the Polish language.
I think there's a
So there
difference.
So may similarities.
Konjen, baliktad yung isa.
Yes.
Isa, dobre din, yung isa naman, gen dobre. Baliktaran. Tama ba?
Correct. But then you can
Parang
pick
Chabacano.
up, you know, you
Baliktad,
can pick
no?
up what it
Yeah,
means.
because the words are the same.
Oo, yeah, okay. All right. Well, okay. Isang tanong ko lang dyan. You said machine operators, mga ganyan, no? Bakit sabi mo dahil parang manufacturing center ng Central Europe ba? Sabi mo? Was it, what is it?
Ng Europe.
Kasi ang Turkey, PEPS, doon mo makikita yung mga Levi's, di ba? Manufacturing. Pero so Central, how would you compare? Meron tayong mga Pilipino na nagkatrabaho sa Middle East, no? Ang sweldo sa Middle East compared to somebody working there, magkano would you know, Ambassador at saka Conjen, kung magkano, I don't know if you could convert it in pesos, magkano ang average na kinikita ng mga machine operator, yung mga ganong trabaho?
I will look at my converter. Okay. So
Kasi
anyway,
ano ba pera ng Czech Republic? Ano ba pera ng Czech diyan? How do you call your money
crowns.
there? Crowns,
It's
Czech
koruna.
crowns. Ang
Crowns,
sweldo ng mga
yes,
Pilipino,
yes.
I'm sure Czech crowns. Sige, mag-convert tayo,
Yes, it is in
Conjen.
Czech crowns. So anyway, let's say for a welder,
Okay.
or a welder in a multinational firm here in the Czech Republic, okay, earns around. They are not just to let you know.
May range
our
yan, di ba? Baka
workers are
ranges.
not. Yes. Our workers are not minimum wage earners.
Okay.
Let's be straight about that. So
Wow.
for welders in a multinational company, their starting pay based on what I saw earlier was 40,000 Czech crowns. In Philippine peso terms, that would be around 92,000 pesos.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
O times
but
12,
then, of course,
more than 1 million yan, di ba? Tama? 1 point something million.
Yeah, that's
Diba?
right. But of course, there's taxes to pay. There would be taxes. There would be deductions for Social Security, health insurance, etc. So probably you can have a take home of, let's say, 32,000 Czech crowns, and then that's aside from overtime pay.
Teka muna. From 90,000,
Yeah.
it went down to 32,000, a third of it?
No, I mean crowns.
Oo nga, crowns.
Not pesos. Yeah.
Sorry.
let's say
Okay, sorry.
Yung 92 was pesos.
Oo, okay,
92
92.
was pesos. Yeah, 40,000 Czech crowns is their monthly, but that's gross.
Parang i-simplify
That's
natin,
not
parang tumatanggap sila ng less than $2,000. Kunyari na lang, no? Sabihin na lang natin.
Yeah.
Or 4. Ang laki pala ng sweldo. Naku, Ambassador.
Right.
Mapalad ang mga Pilipino pala dyan, no? Dapat dumami pa kayo riyan. Di ba? Di ba, Ambassador?
They are provided with decent lodging.
Oo nga. Wow, really, ah? Oo nga. Peps, nakaikot na tayo. We went to Denmark.
Alright.
And then may 2-3 bansa silang hawak. We go to Hungary. Maraming hawak si Frank Simafranca, si Ambassador Frank Simafranca. We go to other embassies. Marami. Special kayo dyan, Ambassador. You just have Czech Republic and you have to take care of 3,017 Filipinos. Bale. And they are good. They've got good paying jobs, no? Pero teka muna, question. Meron ba tayong overstayers? TNT, ganyan. Meron, di ba?
Yes, we do. And anywhere in the world, meron naman yan. pero it's insignificant in number. So, let's say yung mga nakukuha lang namin na inquiries about overstay would be 1 or 2. I mean, in the past year, hindi kami lumampas ng 2.
Napapag-usapan lang natin, why would they overstay? Why would they overstay? Bakit? They arrive as tourists or were they working at one time and were probably either sacked or
Nag-expire
resigned?
yung
Nag-expire
did
yung
their
kontrata?
visa expire?
Oo. Bakit sila nag-overstay?
It's like this. No, when they any Filipino who comes to the Czech Republic would always have a work permit. Kasi there is no reason for them to come here without a work permit. Kasi the government allows for it. And 2,000 as a quota is a big number already. And so there is no reason for them to come here as a tourist and then work. What we receive as a request for
information.
assistance
Okay.
basically was to assist them in trying to find out if, let's say, their employer indeed lodged their applications for the extension of their work permits. Kasi minsan, nakakalimutan ng employer nila yun. And then, sila yung nakakaawa. Kasi, what they call this, their employer would promise them that, yes, we already filed for the extension of your work permit or the renewal of your work permit, only to find out na hindi pala. Or, let's say, hindi na pinayagan ng Ministry of the Interior to extend, and they are given 60 days to look for a new employer. And minsan, hindi nila namimit yung 60 days na yun. So, they have to leave. So, ang nangyayari, minsan, they want to appeal it, pero hindi rin kayang appeal. So, our advice usually is, okay, go home and then just apply sa Philippines or just exit the Czech Republic and then come back, because work will always be here in the Czech Republic. Actually, they need workers still.
Ano yan? Parang
So,
sinasabi mo?
hindi...
Go ahead. Parang
madaling makakuha ng work permit.
Exit ba? Mag-exit, tapos papasok ulit?
Yeah, they can exit and then apply for a work
okay.
permit. Yes.
All right. Okay.
So let them not. So they have to come here as a legal worker, because honestly, there is no reason for them to enter as a tourist and then work. No, better to enter as a qualified
worker.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. I'd like to know your passport application system. No. In that regard, no. Reason why I'm saying that is because, for example, yung mga nasa France na mga kababayan natin, nagkaroon parang ang hirap nila mag-apply, they would go to Belgium. Doon kay Ambassador Eddie De Vega, doon sa lugar niya, tinatanggap nila. Kaya ko, parang pasakaling kong question lang yan. Ang sabi niyo, di ba, mas malapit kayo sa Slovakia, kung tutuusin din, in a way, dahil magkadikit kayo. Meron ba kayong cases na, let's say, pwede mag-apply ba sa inyo ang mga nasa Slovakia? Let's say, mas malayo-layo sa kanila? O, sa bagay, 1 hour train ride lang naman ang ano ba ang capital of Austria? PEPS? Hindi, yung capital ng PEPS, yung...
Vienna.
Vienna, oo.
Vienna o kaya Salzburg.
Those are the two closest. May question kasi, parang trivia question, the two most closest cities in the world, Bratislava, Slovakia, and ano pangalan ito? Vienna. Pero ang tanong ko lang ho,
kaya ang Slovakia is under Austria.
Kaya nga,
mas malapit daw.
One train ride away. Pero kayo ba, kumusta ang yung passport application? Do they do it online? Ano ba sistema ninyo? And can citizens from Pinoy citizens from Slovakia apply sa inyo? Or should they really, do you tell them, dun kayo sa Austria?
Actually, Sonny, we've had already accepted applications from other European cities that cannot be accommodated by our embassies and consulates in their jurisdiction because of the scheduling. So, while we prioritize Filipinos in the Czech Republic in processing their passports, we also accept applications from other cities. We've actually had an experience already. I think one came from the UK even. She was actually on a tour here and she said, while I'm there, could I apply for a passport? Yeah, and then we said, yes, sure, you can come. And then we also had another one from, I think it was from the Netherlands, who came, and we also accepted the passport application. So we are open to them, because we know how difficult it is to get a Philippine passport, and the Philippine passport is a very important document for any overseas Filipino worker or any Filipino for that matter.
Ambassador, saludo kami kayo at saka ni Conjen Indira. Biro mo, PEPS, from London, from the UK, and also from the Netherlands. So, okay pala, no? Pero pwede rin palang, basta, di ba? Kung may... Pero kumusta? Okay lang ba? Maluwag ba? You have 3,017 Lahat yan, I'm
Marami
sure
naman
Pinoy
dito.
yan. Meron na bang
Of course.
check? Yeah, Ambassador, go ahead.
As dito sa amin, of course, we have our own constituency dito sa Czech Republic. But it doesn't mean we will not accommodate other Filipinos. We will always accommodate them.
How long
The
has
best
the
we
post
can.
been? Yang post ng natin diyan sa Czech Republic. Ilang years na yan? 20 years? 10 years? 15 years?
This was opened in 1997.
Mga 97, 2007,
Shortly
2020
before
plus.
this embassy was opened in 1997, I was fortunate to come also in Dutch here, few months after the opening of the embassy, and the Filipino in the whole of Czech Republic was only about 30, including the people in the embassy.
Are you telling us, Ambassador, you were already there 20 plus years ago?
As visitor.
Visitor. I was about to in what capacity? So you were a visitor then in 97.
Visitor siya.
Okay. Okay, kaya ako na itanong, in 97, meron ba diyang mga babae siguro na Pinoy o Pinay, nakapangasawa ng Czech? Meron na ba tayong case ng mga Czech citizens na kababayan natin dyan?
Marami na.
Marami na rin. Really?
Kung sa totoo lang, ang dami ng bata ang gwapo, ang gaganda eh.
Talaga. Tama ba yan? Conjen? Marami na talagang dyan, mga mistisong mga Czech o kaya Slavs. Slavic ba tawag? Slavic lahi. Tama ba yun? Slav, Ambassador? Tama? Slav? Hindi.
Sa
Slavic.
totoo lang, ang magaganda ang mga tao rito eh. When Director Labasang was here, I remember we were eating sa restaurant. Lahat ng nasa harap namin sabi, ang ganda. Hanggang siya napagod din sa kasabi, ang ganda.
Ay, alam niyo, Ambassador, makwento ko, alam niyo, gusto kong girlfriend, nung medyo bata-bata ako, gusto ko Eastern European. Kasi compared to a Western European, mas gusto ko yung mga Eastern European, di ba? Mga Russian beauties, yung mga ganyan, no? Yung mga siguro, mga Czech beauties, yan. So, tama yan. Marami sigurong magaganda nga. Tama ka sa sinasabi.
Total nag-chismis na rin tayo. Tatagdag ko ng
Chismis.
Alam mo, naririnig ba itong si Omar Sharif na
Yes.
artista?
The actor. Hollywood actor. Omar Sharif.
Di ba parang sabi nila international playboy yan?
Okay. Di ba Egyptian?
he
Egyptian
was
ba siya?
asked-
Basta
Basta Arabo
Yeah,
yun
he
eh.
was.
Arabo.
He
Okay.
was asked
Okay.
one time
Okay.
sa experience na as a playboy. Kung
Okay.
siya alam mga babae magaganda. Ang sabi na, Czechoslovakia.
Wow. Czech beauty. Ang gusto niya, mga Czech beauty. All right. For that, coming from a true-blooded playboy, talagang totoo siguro nga naman. Diba? Because he has met all the women in the world, di ba? So, maaaring totoo yan. Tama yan. Okay.
Pero siguro hindi pa siya nakakita ng Pinay eh.
Ay! Yan. Tama
Kaya
ka rin.
nasabi niya yun.
Tama ka rin. Iba rin ang Pinay, di ba? Iba rin. Okay. We're gonna have Peps, mga pagbati lang natin before we go into a break.
Yeah,
And when we come back,
pwede na
yung
natin
mga
ipakita yung mga
magtatanong na doon sa
bumabati sa
ating
atin.
kay Ambassador at kay Conjen, no? Nakakatuwa. It's nice na nakasama natin ulit itong dalawang kaibigan natin, no? Okay. Pabati. Sige, go ahead please. First, pabati. Ayan, yung ating first na bumati.
Malugod na pagbati po sa ating tampok na panauhin, Ambassador Jainal, at sa ating makisig na tagapagtanghal,
Ang
Kuya
lalim
Sunny
naman
and
ito,
Kuya
oo.
Peps, at sa mga tumatangkilik sa ating palatuntunan saan mang sulok ng mundo. Salamat sa World Remit, Oliver Fernandez
Oliver,
from the
mabuhay ka.
USA.
Thank you very much. Yes, from the USA. Oy, from the USA
Washington
to Paris,
State.
France.
Good afternoon po, Feli Besmonte Verana. Uy, sa Paris ito, no?
Oh, from Paris,
Good
punta tayo ng
afternoon,
Czech Republic.
Feli.
Czech Republic. Hello,
Shout
Feli,
out po sa mga nasa Czech Republic. Harold Gomes.
Gomez.
Boxer
Gomez
siguro
ba yan?
ito.
Gomez yata. Parang
Gomez.
Richard Gomez.
Gomez, pero yung boxer nung araw na kalaban ni Class Elorde, si Harold Gomes.
Sige.
Yan
Harold
din ang
Gomes.
spelling.
Kaya lang, baka maawayan tayo ni Harold. Sabi niya, why you're calling me Gomes? Harold Gomez or Gomes, ha? Alam mo na yon. Ayan, taga Czech Republic.
Yan. Si Aristotle Ian Pagdanganan, no?
Hindi
Hello
pa to-
po, pa-shoutout
hindi
po
pa to
sa mga
Greek.
taga Czech Republic. Central Europe. Yan, si
Ayan.
Aristotle.
Di ba? Aristotle ba? Greek.
Oo.
Di ba? Greek philosopher.
Greek
Tama,
ang
no?
pangalan niya, no?
Oh, Greek. Aristotle. Ayan.
Hello mga kabayan, ingat po tayo lagi. Pa-shoutout po, watching now from Czech Republic. Nena Gonzalez.
Ayan, no. Ayan. Oy.
Keep
Si
on
Joy-
watching. God bless. Jocelyn Laragan. O pa,
Oy,
kilala ko yung
Jo,
pangalan nito.
ayan, ayan. Yung ating sister. Kumusta ka na dyan? Okay, Gary Sarte.
Gary Sarte, no? Si Ed. Hello, good afternoon, Sunny and Peps. Watching from London.
Oy, London. Ayan. Yan, sino yan?
A shoutout po, watching
Mary
from
Jane.
Prague.
Prague, Czech Republic.
Mary Jane.
Oy, alright. Uy,
Jane Mary.
ito yung nagis
Aba?
natin kasi... Oh,
Ito naman,
North
ito naman,
Macedonia.
watching from North Macedonia. Merlinda, Tasik.
Peps,
Tachik,
nasasakupan naman ng
Tachevsky.
Greek embassy in Greece yan, di ba? Greece, Cyprus,
Yata,
and
oh, yeah.
North Macedonia. Yan, tatlo na yung hawak niya. Si Ambassador Palek. Ayan.
Yeah. Merlinda,
Oh,
Tachik, Tapchetsky.
Well,
SP Seranillo.
baka
Ba,
magalit.
yan, binanggit mo yung Greece oh.
oh,
Watching live from Greece, Athens,
Athens.
Greece. Keep safe, everyone.
kita nyo naman, ha? International tayo, ha? Kita nyo, ha? Talagang nga naman. Oh, ito, Diyos ko. Yung nasa...
Good afternoon, Sunny and
Nas-
Peps, and to your guest, Emmeline Rafael. Oh, ito, tiga London ito. Pero, at the moment, watching from Abu Dhabi. Nasa
Kita
Abu
mo
Dhabi
naman,
siya ngayon.
all over the world tayo. Ha? Kita mo naman, ang embassy natin kaibigan mo. Oh, ito, taga
Aba.
Portugal.
Grace Sanchez.
Oh.
Good afternoon, everyone watching from Lisbon, Portugal.
Yeah, yan na muna. Ang ating mga pagbati muna nating bibigang daan, no? At, ayan, kita mo, Ambassador at saka Conjan, ha? International tayo. From America,
International, eh.
Cyprus, Athens, Abu Dhabi, lahat na ho. Talagang marami na kayong kaibigan. Kaya pag minsan mabanggit sa inyo,
maraming-
uy, napanood kayo ha? Doon sa embassy natin kaibigan.
Maraming salamat sa kanilang lahat, sa kanilang pagbati. And sana magkaroon ng
Nakakatuwa
pagkakataon na kita-kita tayo lahat.
Yes. Oo. Okay.
At nanonood pa rin sa atin, no? Si Ambassador Myla Makahilig habang naka-quarantine sa sa Vatican City, no?
Yes. Oo. Mahal natin yan. Bago na siya. Bagong ambassador
Alam mo,
si...
Sunny, dahil mag-isa
Oo.
lang daw siya,
Ambassador Myla. Yes.
hindi niya gagamitin yung bahay ni Ambassador Grace, no? Yung dating iniwanang
Oo.
bahay.
Oo. Si Grace.
Dahil
Oo.
mag-isa lang daw siya eh.
Okay.
Pero sabi ko naman, wag mo munang i-dispose dahil pagpunta namin dyan, si Julie, ako, si Sunny, si Sol, tigi-tigi sa kaming kwarto.
Oh. Well, lahat ng mga ambassador, most of the ambassadors ay kaibigan natin, You saw Ambassador Frank Simafranca, Herrera, no?
Leo Herrera,
si Ambassador
si Eddie De Vega, no?
Oo,
Usually
mga kaibigan
nanonood sa atin yan, baka busy ngayon, no?
Oo. Okay.
Usually si Ambassador Ed De Vega watches us, no? So,
All the time, yes. Okay.
oo.
Kabatch mo ba Conjen si Ambassador Myla?
Actually, yes, kabatch ko yan si Ambassador Myla Makahilig. Hi, Mai. How are you? Welcome to Europe. And
Kita mo?
hope to see you soon in Europe.
Klase pala. Kabatchmate.
Yes.
Oh, kita mo,
Batchmate
ano?
ko yan sa cadetship namin sa Foreign Service Institute when we were training as Foreign Service officers.
Ay, di pati rito. Si Conjen CDA, si Makaisa Gonzales. Diba?
Yeah, Arlene is
Arlene.
also my
Arlene,
batchmate. Eileen from Paris PE is also my batchmate.
Oo, si Basinang Rao.
Si Eileen, ano?
Oo.
Eileen Mendiola.
Mendiola Rao.
Mendiola
I should say.
Rao.
Eileen Mendiola
Yes.
Rao. Yeah. Oh, yes.
And then the
Apat na
incoming
kayo rito.
ambassador to, actually magiging marami pa. Our incoming ambassador to Oslo, Rico Foss, is also my batchmate.
Kailan pa?
the
Dumating na ba?
number
Hindi pa.
two,
Dumating na, hindi pa.
parang hindi pa eh. But his number two, Raul Dado, is also a batchmate. So marami kami. And Nina Kainglet from Rome PE is also a batchmate. So she's like the second in command also sa Rome PE.
Meron akong kainglet
Yes.
nung araw na kaklase, no? Anak ni Congressman Kainglet nung araw sa Pilipinas. Kaklase ko sa College of Law, pero ako hindi natapos. Siya siguro natapos na. Okay. We're gonna have a short break. Magbe-break ho tayo. Pagbalik natin, yung mga tanong ho ng mga kababayan natin mula ho dyan sa Prague, no? Sa Czech Republic, kikilalanin din ho
Czech
natin.
Czech
Republic. Okay. Wag ho kayo alis. Saglit po lamang, kami po ni PEPS ay magbabalik dito po sa ating palatuntunang embassy natin, kaibigan mo sa Czech Republic. Saglit po lamang.
Tapos na niluluto mo Paborito ko yan.
Sa World Remit, naiintindihan namin ang iyong paglalakbay. Na minsan, kailangan lumayo upang makamit ang tagumpay. With ways to save more, when you send more, World Remit is here for you, so you can be there for them.
Okay, tuloy-tuloy ho tayo sa ating programa. Ito po ang embassy natin, kaibigan mo sa Czech Republic. Andun ho tayo ngayon. Okay, syempre kasama natin, ako po si Sonny Laragan. For those who have tuned in just now, live na live ho tayo sa ating programa sa Filipino TV Europe. At syempre kasama natin yung aking magandang lalaking kaibigan na walang iba kundi si Mr. PEPS Villanueva. Good afternoon once again, PEPS. Salamat sa World
Good afternoon pa rin sa iyo, Sunny. At
ayan.
siguro sabay tayong bumunot.
Bumunot.
Ayan.
Ayan. Maswerte ka dahil dalawa sa iyo.
Pero
isa mo.
talo kita dahil ako pwedeng magpakita nito. Pwede pa akong uminom.
Oo nga. Ayan. Si Pepso may dalawa. Spoiled sa World
Sa
Remit.
World Remit, no?
Okay.
Ating
yes.
kaibigan sa World Remit, without whom wala tayong programa, no? So maraming salamat, World Remit.
Without whom, tama rin. Dahil hindi natin makikilala itong mga ambassadors ng mga kaibigan natin sa apat na sulok ng Europa. Europa lang ho, dahil nasa Europe kami. Baka sinasabi nila, pwede ba i-guess yung ambassador namin dito sa Bahrain? Hindi. Middle East yan. Dito kami sa Europe. No? Ayan. Oo, di ba?
But who knows, in the future, Sunny,
Pwede rin. Sabagay, tama ka.
baka maging embassy natin, kaibigan mo, sa buong mundo.
Baka mamaya kung nasaan baka hanapin na nila si Ambassador Jainal. Sabi na, asan na si Ambassador? Kunyari nandaw sa ibang embassy si Ambassador. Sabihin nila, pakiguess nga uli si Ambassador Jainal. Hahanapin natin ngayon.
Hahanapin
Si
natin.
Ambassador. Okay. Oy, pakilala mo once again yung ating mga special guest para ibalik natin.
Well, siyempre, no, nandito pa rin yung ating bisita. Walang iba kundi yung ating pinakamamahal na ambassador sa Czech Republic.
Yes.
His Excellency Ambassador Jainal.
Ombra Jainal.
Good afternoon po,
Ayan.
uli.
Good afternoon.
Ombra
Si,
Jainal. No?
And syempre, good afternoon, Ambassador.
Wala
Once again.
maraming salamat sa inyo lahat.
Siyempre, kasama pa rin natin si Consul General
Sandali, Peps.
Indira Banyares.
Ayan, okay. May sinasabi si Indira. Conjen, good afternoon.
Ay, magandang hapon uli. Sunny at Peps at ating lahat ng mga kababayan na nanonood.
Malaki bang clan ang Jainal, Ambassador? Malaki ba
Alam
kayong
mo-
clan? Ang mga Jainal, dyan lang ba, sa Mindanao lang ba makikita? Taga Mindanao talaga mismo kayo?
Sa panahon ngayon, marami na tayong kamag-anak sa kung saan. Ako lang siyam ang anak ko.
Siya
And
muna.
mayroon nga dyan sa London
May anak
I
ka
have
sa
one in
London.
London.
Ano kinukuha niya?
Yeah.
Nag-aaral? O may...
Nurse siya, nurse.
Nurse?
Nurse.
Saan? Saan dito?
Hindi na ko kalimutan kung saan ano yun
Nag-away ba kayo, Ambassador,
Ma-
ng daughter nyo?
Ano yun
Just joking lang.
Yun dito lang before the pandemic. Pero nang may pandemic, hindi na nakapunta.
Hindi na. Oo.
So,
Okay.
I hope the border will be open again so that I can
Magkita.
see my daughter.
Okay. Ano to? Eldest daughter ninyo? Daughter ba? Daughter? Nurse? Lalaki,
Pangatlo
babae?
yan sa babae.
Babae.
I have one in Canada,
Okay.
3 in America. So, dami.
May sumunod ba sa inyo as a lawyer?
Wala. Unfortunately, wala.
Okay. Alright. O sige. Ambassador, at Conjen, ito na yung ating una magtatanong. Ayokong hulaan yung pagbasa ng apelyido, baka magalit eh. Pero siguro patatawarin ako siguro ito. Okay. Ang unang magtatanong, Annalyn, is, alam ko sa Germany, yung V ay W nagiging V eh. Parang Volkswagen.
Yeah.
V.
Volkswagen.
Oo, tama. Volkswagen. So huhulaan ko, Annalyn is Isvora. Annalyn, magandang hapon.
Alamin natin.
Alamin natin. Tama ba? Isvora?
Izwara po.
Iswara. Ako, Diyos ko, parang ano yan.
Magkahiwalay po yung
Oo.
magkahiwalay po yung S ha, Z. Izwara.
Iswara.
Zwara. No?
Iswara.
Zwara.
Okay.
Kaya hindi siya nagiging V dahil kasama siya nung Z, no? Nung Z.
Opo.
Is
Ano na po, nagamit na po nila yung W. Kaya Izwara.
Kanina tinatanong ko si Ambassador, kailan ba nagsimula yan? Sabi niya 1997. So nag-iisip ako, meron na kaya citizens na Pinoy diyan? Ikaw ba, yung apelyido mo tunog Czech eh. Ano ba ikaw ba citizen na?
Hindi pa po, residence pa lang po, hindi pa po ako nag-apply ng citizen. Actually, marami na pong mga citizen na kagaya ko married to Czech.
Okay.
Apo.
Gwapo ba yung husband mo? Kasi magaganda daw yung mga babae.
Blue
sabi
eyes.
ni... Blue eyes.
Blue eyes.
Gwapo po,
Wow.
blue eyes.
Blue eyes. I think,
Opo.
ganda ng kombinasyon. May anak na kayo?
Awa ng Diyos po, mayroon kaya nang binawian ni Lord.
Ay, really?
Sorry to hear that.
Yes po.
Oh, okay. Si Ambassador, siya mga anak. Ikaw, wala, zero?
Zero po, pero mayroon po akong na inadapt ko po yung pamangkin ko from my brother. So, nandito po siya sa Czech Republic kasama ko.
Okay.
Opo.
Pero sayang yung anak mo, no? Nanganak ka pala ng
Opo.
no? Okay, good. What do you do? Sinabi nila Conjen, mga trabaho, nasa machinist, mga ganun, yung mga trabaho, IT, kung ano-ano. Ikaw, what were you doing then? So, ikaw ba'y nagtrabaho na? O sabi ni Mr. Ishwara?
Zwara.
Ishwara. Hindi na, sweetheart, diyan ka lang.
Ay, hindi po. Okay, babati muna po ako.
Go ahead.
Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Okay? Nagpapasalamat po ako at ako'y naimbitahan muli at nakita ko kayong muli dito sa ating live show. Okay. Ang trabaho ko po, dati nasa po ako, sa Norwegian Ambassador Residence. I was working there for 5 years. Then, ngayon po nandito po ako sa Brazilian Ambassador Residence.
Okay. May organizations ka, mukhang may mga photos to direct na pinapakita natin. Ito ba'y kasama rito si Annalyn? Annalyn, ano to?
Yeah.
Grupo ba ito?
Ano po yan, get
Grupo
together
ba yan?
namin po sa sa Litumizitse po yan. Kung saan po mayroon ang istato ni Jose Rizal.
Nagpunta si Rizal dyan sa Czech Republic? Sa Prague?
Yes po, diyan po siya na-inland sa Litumizitse na city.
Ano itong pinapakita namin? Ito, ano yan?
Christmas party po yan ng PhilCzech. Opo.
PhilCzech.
Okay, ito pa.
Opo.
Ito, sige.
Filipino
Sige,
and
ito,
Czech.
mabilis. Ano yan? Sa inyo ba yan? Grupo mo yan?
Opo,
Marami
nagpaano
mga
po
Pinoy.
kami,
Basketball tournament?
Yes po,
Okay. Alright.
Yeah, actually mix po yan, nagpa-game po kami, nagpa-tournament po kami.
Sige. Meron pa ba susunod? Direct? Wala na. Yun na yan? Okay, bago magpatanong tayo.
Tatlo lang po yan.
Tatlo lang. Sige. Si Ambassador andyan, si Conjen nandiyan. May tanong ka ba? Go ahead please, Annalyn.
Opo. Other at Kunjen, magandang hapon po. Mayroon po lang akong gustong itanong at iklaro. Kasi po, may mga natanggap po akong parang gusto lang po nilang maliwanagan Kasi po dati kasi, ang pag-a-apply po daw ng SPA, actually po totoo yan, ang pag-a-apply po ng SPA is good for 1 day lang po. Pag pumunta kami dyan sa embassy, then pinapaantay po yan na approve po lahat-lahat. Pwede na pong umuwi na, dala-dala na namin yung SPA. Bakit po ngayon is it takes 4 days na po? Kasi naaabala na po yung mga tao pag babalik-balik po dyan sa ano lalo na yung may mga trabaho.
Sasagutin ko
sige.
yan.
Okay. Ambassador, Conjen, ayan daw, dati on the same day, ngayon they have to come back say about 4 days after.
Sasagutin ko yan.
Yeah, Ambassador,
Una-una,
go ahead please.
let us remember when the embassy opened in 1997, the ratio was 1 to 5. Isang empleyado, 5 Pilipino. Ngayon, the ratio is 1:500. Pasyupra pang konti. So, yun ang na trabaho. Ngayon, ganito. Recently, yung 2 staff namin na-recall. Yung isa si Grace, yun ang nag-handle ng mga passport. So, more or less, parang master niya na yung trabaho niya. Siyempre, yung bagong dumating dito kapalit niya, she's just trying to get acquainted herself with the job. Pangalawa, yung mga tao pupunta sa kanya, siya hindi pa niya kilala. So, siyempre, iba yung smile mo, yung kilala mo na, tsaka yung hindi. Ganun yun. Pangalawa,
Ganun po ba yun?
mayroon pa kaming tao na yung sinatawag namin local hire, umalis na rin at hindi pinalitan ng Maynila. So, yun ang mga problema. Kakulangan ng tao. But, rest assured, we are trying to cope with the demand of the job. Pangalawa, siya na rin sa dahilan siguro, dahil malakas to ang infection dito, so ang trabaho namin, hinati ko yung personnel, 3 sa isang linggo, 3 naman sa isang linggo. Sa ganun, pag na-disgrasya, nagkaroon ng, God forbid, ng infection yung isang grupo, at least may tutuloy pa yung trabaho. Pero ngayon, effective this month, all of us are now reporting to work on a daily basis. I hope the situation will not revert back to the worst situation. So, pag natuloy-tuloy yung ganda ng panahon, tuloy-tuloy na yung trabaho natin na 5 days a week, lahat kami dito. At kung minsan, pag kinakailangan, nagkatabaw pa rin kami ng Sabado. So, of course, pag mga hindi naman emergency, yung tinatrabaho namin ng Sabado, yung mga naiwan trabaho ng Friday, tila po sa Sabado. So, yung mga bago, doon na lang sa Monday to Friday.
Okay. So may medyo short-staffed kayo, Ambassador dyan, no? Ganun ba, no? Parang merong...
Kulang ng tao.
Medyo kulang ng tao.
Hindi lang kulang na kulang.
Okay, hindi lang kulang na kulang, in-specify.
Kulang na kulang.
In 1997, the ratio was 1 to 5.
Yes. Now 1 to 500.
Ngayon, 1 to 500.
Ayan.
And on top of that,
Well, I hope you understand it. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Ambassador.
Yeah.
yung trabaho ng embassy, more or less parang kunti lang. Ngayon, marami na tayong kasunduan. Commercial, defense, health, trade, napakarami na. Education. So, marami. At saka noon, bihirang tao pupunta rito. Ngayon, marami na.
Dumadami ang demand, no? Nagkakaroon ng marami. Dumami na kayo. Siguro, Annalyn, nung unang napunta ka rin siguro natira dyan, baka hindi ka pa makabangga ng Pilipino siguro pag naglalakad ka sa mall o ano.
Opo, yata, wala pa po kami sa noon wala pa kami sa 1,000. Nasa ano lang po yata kami, nasa 300.
Oo. Imagine mo yan. Oo, 300 na lang.
Eh, ngayon,
So,
nasa 3,017.
17. So,
Sakto no?
intindihin nyo na lang, maswerte kayo kasi compared, for example, sa Hungary, halimbawa, nasa Hungary ang embassy, maraming Pilipino sa Romania, they have to travel din.
Magsa-travel.
Oo. Sa Greece, nandun ang embassy natin, hawak din nila Cyprus, mas maraming Pilipino sa Cyprus. If you know what I mean, no? Maswerte kayong mga sa Czech Republic, dyan, napaka-isang maliit na bansa yan, andyan ang embassy, magkakaroon pa kayo ng labor attaché. Ganon spoiled ang lugar ninyo, di ba? Kasi mga may labor attaché, London, Germany, yung mga malalaking countries, di ba?
Opo,
Maswerte
opo,
kayo,
opo.
maswerte kayo. Oo.
Ganyan po ka-powerful sila, Conjen at Ambassador. Kaya nagpapasalamat kami sa kanila kasi hindi kami pinapabayaan dito. Although may mga nagtatanong lang po, kaya gusto ko lang pong iklaro sa kanila para malaman din po nila yung bagong roles ng embassy.
Tama yan. At naipapaliwanag din ang embassy na kulang silang tao. Hindi lang kulang
Opo.
na kulang. Okay.
Kulang na kulang.
Kulang na kulang. Oy,
Perhaps,
quick.
Sunny,
Yes,
perhaps I could
Conjen,
add
go ahead,
to
Conjen.
that.
Yes, Conjen. Direct.
Right. Actually, I would just want to expound on what the ambassador mentioned earlier by giving you figures. I
Okay,
was
go
like
ahead.
comparing the output of the embassy consular section from last year to this year. So let's say in 2020, passports alone, yung total number of passports as compared the full year of 2020 compared to the 3/4 of 2021 alone, we already saw an increase of 25.97%.
For
And
21.
for, let's say, for
Despite the
2021,
pandemic.
3/4, yes,
Oo,
despite the
tama.
pandemic, that's 3/4 alone, 3/4 compared to full year 2020.
Without pandemic.
So that's 25, without pandemic, 25.97%.
Okay.
For documents, let's say your SPA, yung acknowledgement, yung mga
Yeah.
so your statements, etc. No, we have 3/4 of 2021 compared to full year of 2020, 143.16% ang increase, and it's just
Wow.
3/4. So that's and you have to remember. It's not only that. Our visas also increased for the first 3/4 of 2021 compared to full year 2020. It's 17% increase. And for civil registration, ito yung mga report of birth, report of marriage, report of death, etc. 3/4 of 2021 compared to full year 2020, 29.63%. That's on top of us only having full-time, 6 people only at the embassy, and only 1 consular assistant taking care of all of these consular services, and 1 consul general, and that's me. So there, basically, in a consular section, we only have 2 people, my assistant and myself. And for the ATN section, there are only 2 people as well, the ATN officer and me as well. So if you look at it, the output is very high, but the number of personnel is very low. So we really need more people at the embassy, especially as we see an increase in the succeeding years.
Magaling, PEPS. Magandang comparative analysis study. A full year without a pandemic, tapos compared to the following year, just about 3/4 of the year
ngayon, no?
with pandemic, mas naging parang efficient pa. Okay. Pero tanong lang, yung sinasabi niyang, ang SPA ba ngayon, yun nga, 4 days na. You ask them to submit now, and then the 4th day, ang pick up, gano'n ba?
It really depends on
Depends.
the work that the consular assistant is handling on that day. And also, it also depends if I, as the signatory, would be here on that very day. Because as
okay.
the ambassador also mentioned earlier, we have political and economic and cultural work as well. As a diplomat, we attend meetings outside. And sometimes these meetings will take half day or whole day. We really do not know. And that is our work. We meet with foreign government officials. We meet with our counterparts from the diplomatic corps. We meet people from the ministry, etc. So if there are only two people, they have to, especially if, let's say, these are sworn statements, nobody else can sign that except the consul general. Or a consul, sana, but then we don't have any other officer aside from me. So the assistant, my consular assistant, will best to accept all applications within the day. And if I am here, I will sign them. But if I am not here, then it has to wait for the next day.
Yeah.
As well, the consideration is usually if the person is outside of Prague and they really need the document already on that very same day, they can wait for me to come back to the office, let's say if I'm out. Or the consular assistant will tell me, the consular assistant can tell me, there's an urgent matter right now, then she comes to my office and I sign it. You know, sometimes, what they call this, I think it happened many times already that even though I was like on work from home, on schedule to work from home, I would have the document signed because, you know, I have to consider as well the welfare of the Filipino who lives outside of Prague and needs that document immediately. So it's case-by-case basis that we do so.
Yes, case by case. Annalyn, no?
Flexible pala. Flexible
Flexible.
naman.
Okay.
Okay. Annalyn,
Okay po.
okay, thank you na lang.
Opo.
Para mapabilis tayo doon sa second, third na mga taong magtatanong, ha? So, maraming salamat sa iyo. Mabuhay. Ang tama
Thank
ba?
you, Annalyn.
Maraming-
Ishwara.
Izwara. Salamat din po. Maraming salamat din po
Salamat.
sa inyo.
Mabuhay ka. At God bless sa inyo
Kayo din
na
po.
kababayan namin dyan. No? Take care, Annalyn, ha? Nako, thank you very much. Ayan. Active na active si Annalyn sa mga organization. May Christmas party, may sports. Hindi lang siya pang sports, pang Christmas party pa. Very good
Dagdagan
boy.
ko yung sinabi kanina ni Juan.
Yes, go ahead, Ambassador.
About their place, Lito Mirici. Ang Lito Mirici, hindi lang yung place na, ano yun yun lang lugar ni Blumentritt, yung kaibigan ni Jose
Si
Rizal.
Ferdinand Blumentritt.
Yes, kaya doon mismo na pagpunta ni Jose Rizal dito sa Central Europe, doon siya nag-stay.
Doon siya.
Galing, no? Ako, napunta na ako dyan sa ano I love Prague, no? Nagugustuhan ko yan. Kayo, ano kinakain nyo dyan, Ambassador? Ano ba mahilig nyo kainin dyan? Kayo, Conjan Ambassador, ano ba masarap na pagkain dyan? Ano ba pagkain ng mga Czech? Ano ba ang kanilang parang, kamukha na sa amin, fish and chips siguro. Ano ba sa atin, Pep? Fish and chips?
Fish and chips.
Oo, ano ba pinaka sikat na sikat dyan? Na pagkain ng mga Czech? Ano ba kinakain nyo dyan?
Actually, yung mga, if it's Czech food, Czech food is always meat-based, heavy meat. So you have roasted pork. They have pork. They have their version of our crispy pata. They have sausages, and then they have, of course, roasted duck.
Okay.
And they have the influences of the Austrian food or the German food when it comes to, let's say, their veggies and their fruits. So how they prepare their dishes would always be influenced by the Germans and the Austrians because of their history as well.
Ano tawag natin, Peps? Bratwurst? Yung mga gano'n ba tawag din dyan? Bratwurst?
Yeah.
Yung ba tawag din
Yeah.
dyan sa mga Czechs?
Yeah. The Czechs, they have their sausages. They have, of course, their versions of their own bratwurst but they also have, let's say, sauerkraut, which is, of course, their cabbage, their pickled cabbages.
Atsara nila.
And then, yes, that's right. And then, of course, their duck. And then you will see the influence of beer, because beer.
Sorry. May influence ng beer, sabi mo nga, tama?
Yeah, beer. So let's say when they cook their pork or when they cook their beef, there's always beer in there in their dish. So you be careful when you order this because you never know that it was cooked in beer.
Ah,
If let's say you are a Muslim, yeah,
okay, okay.
you have to ask.
Okay. May Filipino, gusto ko lang tanong, we're talking of food kasi, meron bang mga entrepreneurial na Pinoy dyan and then they created or set up a Filipino restaurant or kainan or I don't know, meron ba? Meron ba tayo?
Yes, we have. We have a Filipino restaurant. Actually, we've had one meeting there already, and your friends, your friends from the UK, also ate there when they were here. And
Yun? Yung nasa
that was
tabi ng
the
dagat?
first.
You close to the
No,
river?
no.
Okay.
No. The one close to the river is another restaurant, but Pinoy Club restaurant is. I think the name is Pinoy Club, and yeah, that's where we ate a lot of Filipino food.
All
So
right.
it's a first.
First, and when? Since when? Since when? First, pero 1 year, 6 months, 2 years? Gano'ng
I
katagal na
think
yan?
I think they just opened a year ago.
Bago pa. 1 year. Very good. Sana magtagal, no? At makapunta
That's
kami ni
right.
Peps dyan. No? Mabuhay.
Pinoy Club po. Yeah, may sumagot kagad eh.
Pinoy Club po.
Yeah.
Pinoy
it's
Club
Pinoy Club.
po.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Meron tayong magtatanong, no? Ambassador and Conjen, no? Ito, mukhang taga, anong lugar to? Czech Republic. Naku, hindi ko mabasa. Ang South... Oh, anyway. Joey Santiago, magandang hapon sa'yo. Brino.
Magandang hapon po, Sir
Brino.
Sunny.
Oo, Brino ba? Tama, Brino?
Berno po.
Adorno.
Berno. Berno.
Berno pronunciation pala. Berno
Berno.
di Brino.
Opo. Magandang hapon po,
South.
Sir Sunny. At magandang hapon din po, Sir Pips. Magandang hapon din po, Ambassador Tatay, Ombra, at sa ating pong General Consul na si Ma'am Indira. At binabati ko rin po yung ating pinakamabait na coordinator po dyan sa Pinas, sa Filipino TV Europe po, si Miss Paula Patricia.
Ayan.
Magandang hapon po.
Gandang hapon. Joey, paano ka napunta rin?
Ano po, sa work abroad po ako nag-deposit po ng resume. Tapos po nag-contact lang po yung agency sa Pinas na pwede po sabihin yung pangalan. Or hindi.
Pwede. Tsaka anong trabaho? Yeah.
Yung una ko kasing trabaho, sir, yung operator. Pero kasi nag-change na po ako ng company. Tapos ko po dun sa previous ko na trabaho. Yung trabaho ko po ngayon ay quality engineer technician.
Operator ng ano yung dati? So, operator ka ng... Operator ng... Yeah.
Ano po ako, taga-testing po ako ng mga hard disk, kung pasado po hindi. Tapos po, afternoon po ng 1 year, na promote po ako as debug. Nagre-repair po kami ng mga mainboard ng setup box.
Hard
IT.
disk, yung hard disk ng computer,
Yes
yun
po.
ang inaayos nyo, parang ganon.
Yung malalaki po. Mhm.
Nagmamanufacture
Kasi
o
yung mga setup,
gumagawa kayo?
repair lang po siya. Repair and service po.
To
Dun
repair
sa
and
previous ko po na
service.
company.
Ano ginagawa
Yes,
mo
po.
sa Pilipinas dati bago ka napunta dyan? At bago ka nag-apply doon sa unang trabaho mo?
Ano po ako, isa po ako sa senior technician po ng laptop repair specialist po sa Pinas. Ang company po namin ay SSD laptop sa Mall of Asia.
Okay. So nag-apply ka, nagsabi mo, nagpasok ka na application sa workaround? Ano pangalan nun?
Workabroad.ph.
Work abroad. Okay,
Workabroad.ph.
.ph. So nag-apply ka ron, natanggap ka. Paano ka makapag-communicate dyan? Ano kayo? Nag-i-Englishan kayo? O naobliga ka ba mag-aral ng Czech language?
Actually po, nag-English po. Pero ang iba, hindi talaga speak ng English. So kailangan namin ng ibang mga kaibigan or mga ka-workmate namin na marunong mag-English.
Ano, workmate nyo na Czech na marunong mag-English?
Yes po.
Ganon.
Yes
Hindi ba
po.
naging mahirap sa inyo? Parang nag-give up ka na, parang hindi kami magkaintindihan to. Uwi na lang ako sa Pilipinas. O hindi naman?
Hindi naman po. Mababait lang po sila at marunong silang umintindi.
Okay. Napansin ko, maganda ang buhok mo. Meron ba tayong mga Filipino na hairdresser dyan?
Meron po, may kilala po ako dito sa Berno.
Filipino?
Siya po nagugupit sa... Yes po, Filipino.
Okay.
Shoutout po kay Kuya Boyet.
Kuya Boyet, mabuhay kayo dyan. Maganda, very entrepreneurial, no? Okay. Sige. Joey, andyan si Ambassador at saka si Conjen. Baka may tanong ka sa kanila. Go ahead, please.
Hello po, Tatay at Consol, General. Yung tanong ko po ito kasi galing po ito sa mga kasama ko rin dito at mga kaibigan. So yung tanong ko po ay posible po ba magkaroon ng weekend schedule pag kumuha po ng appointment? Kasi po medyo mahirap po kasi mag-file ng holiday at magpaalam sa mga amo na within weekdays na pwede sila mag-holiday para lang makakuha sila ng appointment or pumunta po sa embahada.
Okay, so ayan
Posible
tanong.
po bang magkaroon?
Ambassador, posible ba magkaroon? At saka Conjen ng weekend dahil hindi sila maka... Okay, sino sasagot? Si Conjen.
Ako
Conjen
na sasagot, Peps, Sunny. Actually, depende kung ilan kayo. Because we have to also consider the efficiency of the operations of the embassy. So kung hindi na ninyo talaga kayang dumating during a weekday, we can schedule a weekend, but you have to tell us in advance. So kung makakabuo siguro tayo ng 10 or 15 in one day from Birno, then we will attend to you. At the same time, just to let you know, you have to tell us this one in advance because we have to seek the permission of not to seek the permission, we have to inform the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in the Czech Republic if we are to operate on a weekend. Yes, so let us know in advance and we will consider your request.
May tanong lang ako sa inyo, Conjen tsaka Joey, no? Parang ang balita ko, mas malapit ang Brno, kala ko Brno sa Prague, sa Vienna kaysa sa diyan sa Prague. Oo, mas malapit, tama ba? Mas malapit kayo, Joey?
Mas malapit po
Distance-wise?
yung Brno sa Vienna. 1 hour and 30 minutes lang po yung biyahe. Unlike po sa Prague, almost 4 hours po yung biyahe.
Oy, times 2.5, 3, almost 3. Oo. Conjen, sila ba? Pwede ba mag-apply sila sa... Well, hindi mo naman natin tinutulak sila sa magpunta ron. Pero sila ba? Pwede sila mag-apply doon sa kabila? Sabagay, hindi naman dapat kayo sumagot. Sila sasagot, di ba? Mali ang tanong yata, no?
Dapat Vienna sumagot. But
there
is a foreign service circular that instructs all foreign service posts to accept applications for passports, regardless of where the Filipinos are residing at. So, especially in emergency cases. So that's the reason why we cannot say no if a Filipino wishes to apply here. That's why I also mentioned earlier, while we give priority to Filipinos in the Czech Republic when they apply for their passports, we have accepted the passport applications of Filipinos outside our jurisdiction, especially if this need is very urgent for them.
Ayan. Pero ang problema
as I mentioned also earlier, I mentioned also earlier, if you are, let's say, if you can form between 10 and 15 or even more Filipinos from Brno, okay, we can open for you on a weekend.
Ano kailangan nyo kung sakasakali? Joey, ano mga kailangan ninyo? Hindi kasi iniisip ko lang, kaya ako tinanong, baka kayo ba, Conjen, meron kayong mga outreach, ganyan? O hindi na kailangan ng outreach dahil maliit lang ang hawak ninyo? Hindi kayo nag-outreach?
Actually, nagbalak kaming mag-outreach sa Brno kaso nagka-COVID. So I mean, you know, when there's an increase in the COVID infection, you know, it's difficult to go there and have an outreach. We've been trying to do an outreach, but then COVID struck. What we can do perhaps is to consider an outreach next year. Hopefully the pandemic situation improves. But, you know, if your need to renew the passport is very urgent already, then I think it's more doable to come here on a weekend.
Ayun. Pero hindi kayo bukas ng weekend yun ang problema lang,
no,
di ba? Hindi kayo bukas.
We are not open on a weekend.
schedule lang,
But we will open for you if you tell us in advance and we give the proper notification to the Czech MFA. Because the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has to know that we are open on a weekend.
May ganun pa.
Mm,
Ano?
Yes.
Okay. Ano yung circular? May circular 1, 2, 3, or 4, 5, 6 or whatever na sinasabi mo na any consulate or embassy, di ba, can entertain yata. Dahil kamukha ninyo, entertain yung mga applications kasi kamukha ninyo, UK and Netherlands have applied with you, di ba? Sabi mo?
Yes.
Yes.
We accepted their applications. Yes. I cannot recall exactly the number of the circular,
Sige,
Sunny,
but at least, yeah,
there
I
is
know.
an existing circular.
There's
Yes.
Also, Joey, pwede kayo doon sa Austria. Pwede lang pala, kung mas malapit sa inyo yun. Yung trabaho lang ang
Siguro.
problema.
Pwede sila Joey actually, but then they have to see if they are, let's say,
Open naman
within
sila
the schedule,
sa weekend.
you know,
Oo, kung may
open
weekend
Yung
naman.
appointment din doon. Because appointment system din doon.
appointments
It's the same, no?
Two alternatives. One, check
It's
with
the
them if
same
they're open
everywhere,
on
no?
a weekend. Or band yourselves together. Ilan kayo dyan? Mapili nyo para isang grupo. Isang mas marami-rami. At least makasampu kayo.
Sabay-sabay, no?
Sabay-sabay. Oh. Ilan ba ang Pilipino dyan sa Brno? Hindi ko mabasa Brno. Brno pala. Ilan kayo dyan? Ilan ba? Conjen, may idea ka ba?
Sure
Joey,
kung-
ilan kayo dyan sa ballpark figure? Hulang lang.
Wala ko po
Actually-
kasi marami na po ngayon. Okay.
Tanong na si Conjen. Alam niya siguro.
Actually,
Yung-
I can know because we have a breakdown of Filipinos per region. Brno is the third largest concentration of Filipinos in the Czech Republic. You have 406 in the South Moravian region. Brno is the capital, but of South Moravia. But in your region, you have 406 Filipinos there.
Saan ang pinakamarami Pilipino?
Dami rin pala,
Saan
no?
ang pinakamarami? Sabi mo, third. So number one is...
Yes. Number one is Prague. We have
Prague.
909 Filipinos in Prague. Prague
Okay.
itself is a region, considered a region. no?
Region na yan,
And then-
Prague. Okay, and then?
Yes.
Next?
And Central Bohemia region, where Prague is, we have 533 Filipinos.
Maganda yung
And
pangalan
then,
niyo, Bohemia.
Yeah,
okay.
Central Bohemia. Yeah, you know the Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, the Bohemian
right?
lifestyle, di ba? Yung mga ano, di ba?
So,
Diyan ba
that's
galing yan?
the
Sa Bohemia?
Yes, yes, of course.
Okay, yeah. Diyan
So,
pala yan.
and then,
Oh.
right, and then so South Moravia, where Brno is the center, you have 406. And then South Bian region, you have where České Budějovice is the administrative center, you have 268. And Ústí region is 222 Filipinos. So those are the top 5 regions where there's more than 200 Filipinos living and working in the area.
Madami-dami rin pala. Yan sa Brno.
Okay. Marami.
So, yan,
So,
no,
ilan ang
Joey?
region? Ilan ang region?
Just
Totally,
organize yourselves.
Ilan ang probinsya dyan? Kumbaga, parang sabihin na natin probinsya or regions or ano?
There are 14 regions in the Czech
Marami.
Republic.
14. Okay. Czech Republic.
Yes.
Galing naman, no? Okay. Well, okay na yun, Joey, ha? Ito, Joey, ano itong mga photos niyo? Ito ba, kasama ka rito, Joey? Andiyan ka ba?
Yes po, ako po yung nakaputi.
Ikaw yung nakaputi. Oh.
Katabi ko po si Tatay Amba.
Si Ambassador to. Oo nga, tama.
Yes
Ayun
po,
ba yung
sa
nag-ayos
gitna.
ng buhok mo? Itong nasa dulo, sa kaliwa?
Hindi po.
Hindi.
Hindi po,
Okay.
hindi po.
May ano pa mga photo? May photo pa ba? Anong, ito, parang
Yan
nagpa-picture lang kayo, grupo nyo. Ito ba? Okay, ha?
Ano po
Ayan.
yun? Independence Day po yan.
Ano yan? The Valence?
Independence Day po yun.
Independence Day.
Picture
Independence
namin
Day.
yan ba?
Okay. Oh.
Yes po.
Ayan, mukhang may mga check din kayo. Check ba tawag sa mga tao?
Yes po,
Check?
yan po yung mga...
Check?
Yes po, check.
Check din. Ayan, mga
Yan
check.
po yung mga kaibigan natin dito at mga kasama sa trabaho.
Galing. Okay, well,
Dami rin pala, no?
maraming salamat sa iyo, Joey, ha? Taga saan ka sa Pilipinas?
Joey.
Maraming...
Taga saan ka sa Pilipinas?
Actually po, taga Negros po ako. Cadiz City.
Cadiz.
Cadiz.
Yung
Pwede ko
aking-
pong batiin nanay ko.
Siyempre, nanay mo yan eh. Ako rin, batiin ko nanay ko kung nanonood. Sige, go ahead.
Hi Mama, Mama Glenda. Babatiin ko rin po yung mga pamangkin ko, si Miko, si Anika, Aika, at yung anak ko po na si John Briggs.
Wow.
Batiin ko rin po yung ate ko, nasa Prague po siya, si Ginida. At mga kaibigan ko po dyan sa Prague at dito sa Brno.
Teka muna, may
Thank you
kapatid
po.
ka dyan sa Prague din? Dyan sa Czech
Prague.
Yes
Republic?
po, yes po.
So hindi ka lonely?
Opo,
Dahil may kasama ka, kapatid mo. Di ba? Okay.
yes po.
Sabi ni Conjen, malaki yung sweldo mo, ha? No? Tama ba yun?
Hindi po.
Malaki-laki yan. Ba,
Ang bigay, ang binina po ng bigas.
Ikaw napaka-humble.
Pero
Mas malaki
Joey,
sweldo.
pwede ba ibigay mo sa akin yung address mo at ipapadala ko yung laptop ko? Naglolo ko eh. Pwede pakiayos na lang.
Oo.
Ready po.
Di, pati laps na ba inaayos nyo? Or yung mga disk lang? Ano ba inaayos nyo?
Hindi po sa company. Bali, bawal po yun sa company namin. Actually, dati po kasi sa Prague, meron po akong ginawang parang personal ko po na page na kasi nagre-repair po ako ng nagsiservice po ako ng repair ng mga gadgets, ng laptop, desktop, mobile phone at etc. po. So, pero kasi nandito na po ako sa Brno, medyo hindi na po ako medyo nagsiservice.
Pero
Hindi na
pa
daw
siya.
kailangan kasi malaki na ang kinikita.
Magaling itong mga Pinoy na kababayan natin dyan sa Brno. Peps, at least tayo ngayon because of the embassy show, namimit natin yung ating mga mababait na mga ambassadors. Marami rin din tayong namimit na mga kababayan natin. At gusto ko, curious ako dyan sa Pinoy Club na yan. Peps, ha? Mapuntahan din natin.
Meron
no?
pa pala silang karaoke.
Okay. Okay, pasalamatan na muna natin si
karaoke
Joey.
din po.
Joey, maraming salamat para mabigyan natin ng daan. Baka may gusto pang
Thank
magtanong
you,
yata.
no, Joey?
Oo, bago mo basahin yun.
Maraming salamat po.
Okay, sige. Alright, thank you, ha, Joey, ha. Maraming mabuhay kayo dyan, Sabrino, ha. Mabuhay ka. Ayan. Ambassador, may nagpapatanong na lang dito. Hindi yata siya biglang mag-aalaga yata. Ilabas natin.
Nagkasakit daw yung kanyang alaga eh. No?
Sige, thank you, Joey, ha.
Hindi ko
Sige,
po
bigyan natin
maiwan,
daan ng
no?
Oo, yan. Ayan, si
So,
Marisa
magtanong na lang siya.
Requina. Ako po, dapat ang isa sa mga naibitahan magtanong ng live. Nakakalungkot po dahil nagkasakit ang aking alaga. Di ko po maiwan. Ito yung tanong niya. Sige, go ahead. Ito, Peps.
Yung before that.
Yan. Ito na. Andyan na.
Pao,
Andyan na,
yung
naka-flash
sumunod,
na.
yung before that.
Naka-flash na. Naka-flash na.
Ayan na, okay, no?
Pakibasa, Peps.
Mapagpalang araw po, ano-ano pong mga dokumento ang kailangan ihanda ng mga OFW sa kanilang pagbabakasyon sa Pilipinas. Kailangan po bang certified ng Czech Ministry ang aming contract para sa pagkuha ng DEC, OEC, o pag-uwi ng Pilipinas? Pwede ba magbayad ng OWA membership fee sa airport ng Pilipinas para sa quarantine? Or kung di bayad, shoulder po ba ng OFW ang hotel at food sa quarantine period?
Ayan. Amba
Marami
and
siyang tanong,
Conjan. Nakakuha niyo ba yung tanong?
Yeah.
Nakuha niyo ba yung tanong? Amba? Go ahead. Walang audio si Conjen direct. Sandali lang, ha. Ibabalik lang ni direct yung audio mo. Go ahead, Conjen.
Okay. Maraming salamat sa tanong na yan because it gives us opportunity to also share to all Filipino workers who are intending to return to the Philippines, especially for the holiday season. You know, the documentary requirements that they need, including the request of the Department of Health that all Filipinos who intend to return to the Philippines during the holiday season should be vaccinated against COVID-19. So meron kaming what they call this advisory na ilalabas mamayang hapon kung hindi pa yan nakalabas sa aming Facebook page, because it is part of the strategy of the Department of Health that all Filipino workers who are returning for the holidays should be vaccinated against COVID-19. And it's part of the overall strategy of the Philippines to maintain this campaign against COVID-19. Now, the question is, ano yung mga dapat nilang kailangang isumite? If you really, if you wish to have, let's say, your OEC renewed, please get in touch immediately with our Philippine Overseas Labor Office in Berlin, while we still do not have the labor attaché here in the Czech Republic. We will try to, probably flash on the screen. I don't know, I will type it probably later, but you can process your overseas employment certificate online via this website. It's www.bmonline.ph. And then if, let's say, you are intending to change your employer, your contract would have to be verified by our Philippine Overseas Labor Office in Berlin. So their website or their email address is polo_prague@dole.gov.ph. Now, definitely you would need to have your you have to comply with the testing and quarantine protocols of the Philippines, and we can give you the links as well, because before you leave or before you depart for the Philippines, you have to have registered via these links. So there's the onehealthpass.com.ph, and there's dole.gov.ph, OFW-assistance-information-system-oasis. You have to do all of this Gagawa online processing system, so that when you go to the Philippines, you will not have any problem or when it comes to your quarantine and testing. And then when you exit the Philippines to return to your work, you will have your OEC as well. And it's very good to already be vaccinated and then present your vaccination certificates. So I will have to, and also there's the OFW Assistance Information System, effective 16 October 2021, we announced that the Czech Republic is under category of a yellow country, which means for fully vaccinated individuals, you will have to go through a facility-based quarantine until the release of your RT-PCR testing on the 5th day. And then after that, you will be required to undergo a home quarantine until your 10th day, beginning from the date of your arrival. That's your first day. And then the BOQ, the Bureau of Quarantine, shall ensure a strict symptom monitoring while in the facility. And then as well for unvaccinated, there will be a facility-based quarantine until the release of a negative PCR test taken on the 7th day. And then after which, you will be required to undergo home quarantine until your 14th day from arrival, from the date of your arrival being the first day. So there are documents that you have to comply with. You have to have also your vaccination card ready. And as well, for additional information, you have to get in touch with Polo Berlin. And I will type here, as we go along with the program, I will type here the websites, the links that I mentioned earlier for your information.
Yes, and they can also watch this part, no? Balikan niyo para doon sa mga pinaliwanag ni Conjen, no? Tanong ko lang, a quick question lang, bakit mukhang mapalad kayo, Ambassador, bakit dyan meron kayong magkakaroon kayo ng labor attaché? Not every country in the world and all the embassies in the world and not all embassies in Europe, merong ang tawag dito, labor attaché. Bakit ba? Ba't meron kayo? Ba't napili kayo? Yes, Ambassador. Nagsasalita mo, Ambassador? Are you saying?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead, Ambassador.
Una, I said, because of the labor migration program of the Czech Republic, there is really a need for us to have a labor attaché here. While other areas, like the countries in the Middle East, have so many workers, but these are workers that are already there, but new market are not that many anymore. Here, it is a new market. So we have to take care of this Otherwise, this new market will be denied to us. Not every country, every labor exporting country are given this privilege. There are only 3 countries that are included in this program, and Philippines is one of them. So we have to make sure that this opportunity will not be wasted,
Okay.
because it is not easy.
Maganda. Mapalad kayo. Maswerte kayo, Ambassador, for being one of those lucky few countries. No? But that would also mean that you will be serving, your labor attaché will be serving some of the countries within the region, siguro, within the area, siguro.
Definitely.
Oh, definitely. Okay. Pakita ko lang, meron tayo, andyan na si Ludi Samson, pero pakita ko lang yung photos nung dati nagtanong natin, Pep, si Marisa Rakina ba? Marisa, tama? Ito yung grupo niya, no?
Rakina.
Prague. Oo,
Philcom Prague yan.
Ito, meron siyang mga ginagawa para sa mga kabataan yata, no? Sa mga kids. Ayan. Oo. So, ayan, may mga photos siya. Siguro mga family siguro to sa Pilipinas, yata, no? Na binabahan niya ng tinutulungan ng konting charity niya. Ayan. Mabuhay ka, Marisa Rakina, and you're serving as an inspiration, no? Pag meron kayong
ayuda.
Tulong. Oo. Okay. Ito, Peps, one of our avid friends ng programa, dahil maski saan mapunta to, nanonood to, bumabati sa atin to, naiintriga tayo. Ito ba yung babae ba? Bakit ganun? No? Yung pala, yung lalaking macho-macho. Magandang hapon, Ludi Samson, nasa Prague, Czech Republic, isa sa mga trackers nating na Pinoy. Good afternoon.
Magandang
Ludi.
hapon po, Sir Sonny. Nakita nyo na po ako personal, Sir Peps, at saka kay Ambassador at saka kay Consul po. Magandang hapon po.
Nakakatuwa. Ayan, go ahead. And then, ikaw ay minsan nandun ka sa Denmark, minsan nandiyan ka sa Poland.
Opo.
Minsan nasa ano.
Opo.
Oo. Paano ka
Ngayon,
napunta sa trabaho na yan?
Hinard po kami by, ganun din po, work abroad. May agency. Tapos, hinard kami ng malaking transport dyan po sa Czech Republic, yung una ko pong company, Ecom Transport. Tapos, yun nga, yung sinasabi kanina po na about sa language, pinag-aral po nila kami ng 2 months ng Czech language. After nun, pinag-aral po nila kami kasi hindi, ang license po kasi natin dito sa Czech Republic is hindi accredited. As in back to zero po kami.
Anong back to zero? Nag-aral ka uling mag-drive, mag-take ka ng exam dyan? Magte-test ka dyan? Ganon?
Lahat po. Start from car to 10-wheeler, then trailer, yung lorry.
Teka muna.
Almost 1 year.
1 year.
Opo.
So 1 year ka na dyan, sinesweldohan ka nila habang nag-aaral ka para makuha mo pa lang yung mga requirements mo? Ganun ba?
Nung una po, mga 2 months, yung pinag-aaral kami ng Czech language, meron po kami sweldo sa kanila. After nun, para pinasok nila kami po dun sa factory, sa teleplan. Para yung income namin, may sweldo kami, tapos nag-i-schooling kami. Nag-auto school po kami.
So,
po.
apply kayo sa Pinoy Work Abroad, yata, nabanggit mo, as truck drivers. Pero dahil hindi basta-basta maging truck driver dahil kailangan mo ng requirements, isang taon muna kayo dyan para makuha nyo. Pinasok muna kayo sa pabrika para at least may bayad kayo habang nag-aaral.
Para may sweldo.
Oo, may sweldo.
Para doon po yung source of income namin, para hindi rin makatipid rin yung company. Ganun po ang ginawa nila sa amin. Kasi po, sa ibang bansa, ang Latvia, Poland, Lithuania, accredited yung license natin ng if you are a truck driver. Accredited kagad sila. And international driver's license. Makakapagmaneho kagad sila ng truck. Hindi katulad po sa Czech, ang batas is you stay 3 months bago ka i-apply nila sa autoskola.
So natanggap ka ng trabaho mo diyan sa Czech Republic. Kung tutusin, ang employment mo Czech Republic, di ba? Tama?
Opo, as a lorry driver.
Oo.
Ganun
Pero
po.
nakakarating kayo ng Denmark, nakakarating kayo ng Poland.
Opo.
Bakit?
Opo. Delivery po. Katulad po ngayon, ang point ko po is Denmark, sa Fredericia. Galing po ako ng Czech Republic.
Ang biyahe mo, ilang gano'ng katagal? Mga lingguhan, ganyan? Paano ang biyahe mo?
Matagal ako makauwi po kasi minsan 1 week, ganun. Or depende.
Okay.
Sa backload mo, halimbawa po ang karga ko pabalik is Czech Republic direct, mga 4 days na nakabalik na ako.
Okay.
Ganun po.
Andiyan si Ambassador, si Conjen, baka may tanong
Opo.
ka. Go ahead, please.
Kay Conjen po, kasi yung boss ko, nagtatanong kasi dito po sa second company ko is, ang gusto niya, Pilipino. Paano po ba mag-hard sa atin ulit? Kasi yung, gusto niya kasi Pilipino po na driver. Ganun po, tinatanong po ako lagi. Paano ba mag-hard ulit na... Opo.
Paano mag-hire ng direkta yung boss mo, yung company mo? Ganun gusto mo malaman? Na Pilipino?
Opo.
Kasi,
Tinatanong ng boss niya.
Opo.
Okay. Conjen, nakuha mo ba yung tanong ni...
Okay, I just have a few questions to ask before I could really fully answer you. Because number one, yung employer mo ba is a Czech company?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So second one is that Czech company aware of the Czech economic migration scheme?
Yes po, mayroon po silang mga job order number.
Ito may limited
Opo.
number of
Opo.
Yes.
Okay.
Because if your company is aware of the Czech economic migration scheme, there are 3 programs under that migration scheme, no? The Key and Research Staff Program. The second one is the Highly Qualified Worker Program. And the third one is the Qualified. Ang mga Filipino workers are usually under the Qualified Worker Program. And being a driver, if I'm not mistaken, is under the Qualified Worker Program. Now, for your employer to be able to get a Filipino worker, he has to apply for a driver through the Chamber of Commerce in charge of transport. So there is a list of organizations. Yes, there is a list of organizations or chambers that he can access and see which chamber should he go to submit his application, because there are documentary requirements that your company would need to submit. Now, after that chamber has already vetted that application or approved that application, then they will have to submit it to the Ministry of Industry and Trade and then to the MFA. Why? Because now that approval will have to be given to the Czech Embassy in Manila, saying that, okay, you can process the visa of this person who they approved to get. So under this migration scheme, hindi yung Filipino ang direktang nag-a-apply for work in the Czech Republic. It's the other way around. It's the company going through the chamber in charge of his industry, and then that chamber getting the approval of the Ministry of Industry and Trade. After the approval of the Ministry of Industry and Trade gets the approval of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, who will then direct the Czech Embassy in Manila to process the visa of this Filipino driver who will come to the Czech Embassy for your company. Who will come to the Czech country for your company to work. So there is a long process that your company has to go through. You cannot go direct. So ang gagawin lang ng Czech company mo, if let's say he is already allowed to hire a Filipino driver, then to get in touch with an agency in the Philippines who will process all the documents for
yes,
that
ma'am.
driver.
But Kasi ang gusto ko po mangyari, yung katulad kasi kami noon, hinard kami from the Philippines, tapos pagdating dito, agency. Ang gusto ko, direct na, wala nang agency dito sa CZECH. Doon na lang sa
Actually,
Pilipinas.
right. But then the thing is, there is a reason why you have to go through an agency. And you will see it under our Migrant Workers Act of the Philippines. It is meant to protect the Filipino worker against trafficking, against illegal recruitment, and against other forms of abuse. So we have, let's say, a few steps to protect the Filipino worker. Actually, the Filipino worker is known to be very efficient, very productive, but at the same time protected. That's why, you know, the interest in hiring Filipinos is is very high, because we know how to protect our workers, and at the same time, our workers would have to know how to protect themselves. And I think we have the Migrant Workers Act. We have to respect the Migrant Workers Act. We have to implement that Migrant Workers Act. And actually, the Czech government is very much aware of our policy on Filipino workers.
Okay, well.
Ganun po. Sige po.
Apektado ka ba? Parang bumababa sweldo mo? Dahil parang dumaan ka ng agency sa Pilipinas. Pero may katuwang yan, parang dito sa UK.
Opo.
Sa UK,
Kasi nung
Si Ludi
ng
kasi,
nurses,
pagdating dito, pagdating sa Prague, agency rin ang kumuang sumalubong sa kanya. It's a
Hindi, kasi
local
po, ganun.
agency.
Opo. Opo. Kalahati
Ang
ng
gusto
sweldo
niya, ang
namin
gusto
ang
sana nilang
nawawala.
mangyari, yung employer, diretso na hindi na dadaan sa agency sa Prague. Okay lang
Opo,
na may agency sa
kasi-
Philippines, pero wala nang agency sana sa Prague daw. No?
pero yung
Kasi
agency
ang
nyo,
nangyari-
sumunod lang sa mga requirements lang yata. Pwede na silang director rin siguro makakuha. Sinasabi ni Tkon dyan, three categories, and you fall on the third category, yung mga drivers yata, di ba? Oo.
Right.
Kasi ang nangyari sa amin,
Si Conjen daw, may sinasabi. Go ahead, Conjen.
Opo,
actually,
sige po.
Sunny, Peps, and Rudy, you know, matagal nang merong POEA board resolution on who is qualified to directly hire Filipino workers. Hindi lahat. So, meron yan tayo. I cannot just recall the number of that POEA board resolution, but it's from years ago na nasa iba pa akong bansa na na-assign, that limits who can hire directly Filipino workers. And for drivers, napaka-vulnerable nyo as workers. You are very vulnerable to abuse. And so you cannot be directly hired. You have to go through the agencies, because then let's say if ganito kasi yan, based on my experience, you know, I've been assigned in the Middle East. I've been assigned to heavily ATN cased, heavily ATN what do you call this, post ATN cases post, no? When a Filipino worker becomes distressed in a foreign country, ang una nilang pupuntahan would be the ATN section of the embassy. Now, the ATN section of the embassy will evaluate the case. Now, if we can see that the local recruitment agency has a part in resolving the case, then siya una naming tatawagan. We will say, hey, this Filipino worker who is part of your agency is in need of assistance 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if that local recruitment agency cannot do the work, then we have to go through your Filipino recruitment agency, Now, your Philippine recruitment agency is mandated under our law to provide assistance to you immediately. If they cannot comply with the regulations or with the regulations to assist you, then there will be reasons to blacklist them. Now, that is your form of protection. The reason why you paid for, let's say, probably fees to go there is that they have the work to protect you within the 2-year contract probably that you signed with them. Now, if, let's say, your Philippine Recruitment Agency cannot help you still, then the Philippine government, we will have to really give you all the support necessary already. So, I mean, including finance na. So let's say if you need, to be repatriated to the Philippine government will already pay fully for your repatriation. If you need, let's say, legal assistance already, we will pay already for your legal fees, your attorney's fees, etc. If you need already welfare assistance, food and accommodation, we will do all of those things. So that is the level of protection that we do for you under the Migrant Workers Act. And that's the very reason that drivers cannot be directly hired, because your sector is a very vulnerable sector and it's very prone to abuse.
Ayan.
Kasi
Pasensya
po,
ka, Lodi, mahaba-haba yung sagot, pero
Opo.
merong reason behind. No? Hindi pwedeng, baka pwedeng employer ko direktang, diba? Kailangan dumaan sa proseso. At yan ay naisagawa na, naiset na yung mga regulations ng mga gobyerno. So, Lodi.
Opo. Opo. Sabihin ko na lang po sa employer ko na ganun.
Ganun lang muna. Oo, tama.
Opo.
Okay. Ludi, baka may babatiin ka lang bago namin pakawalan. Pasensya na, gahol tayo sa panahon. So, we want to thank you.
Opo.
Yeah, go ahead, please. Ano
Salamat din po.
babatiin ka?
Babatiin ko po yung asawa ko sa Pilipinas. Malapit na. Kunting tiis na lang, uuwi na ako ulit.
Uwi ulit. Babalik ka dyan sa Prague. Sa work.
Opo.
Ayan, bakasyon lang.
Kasi 2 years... Opo, kasi 2 years po ako hindi nakapagbakasyon dahil dyan sa pandemic na yan.
Good. Okay. Well,
Ngayon
at least
po,
kayo makakauwi ka na. Tama.
Opo,
Okay.
medyo 5 days na lang eh. Ang quarantine.
Bilib ako sa Pilipina, pag pinabati mo, kamukha ni Ludi, na asawa niya, kanina si Joey, yung nanay niya, mabuhay kayo. No? So, thank you. Mabuhay. Joey, ingat kayo sa pagmamaneho, ha? At thank you for always being there and watching us. Nako, Ambassador.
Nakita niyo na po ako. Lalaki po ako.
Ludi. Di ba kasi Ludi, babae, di ba? No? So, ano ka ba? Ludovico? Ano ba pangalan mo?
Hindi po, Ludi po talaga. L-U-D-Y po.
Sa
Talaga,
birth
yun lang.
certificate mo, Ludi lang. Yan na yan.
Opo, pati sa passport. Opo.
Okay, good. So, yun talaga. Yan ang talagang pangalan mo.
Salamat po.
Mabuhay, Ludi, ha? Thank
At
you.
saka, opo.
Go
One
ahead.
more, sir. Kay
Go ahead.
Ambassador. Maiksi lang to.
Okay. Quick lang. Sige.
Ambassador, may Christmas party po ba tayo ngayong December?
Ambassador, may Christmas party daw ba ngayong pandemic December?
Have one Christmas party. I hope the situation will go
kasi
so that everybody can come.
Hopefully daw.
Namimiss ko na kayo. Wala ilang taon na tayo walang December.
Oo nga. Namimiss kayo, Ambassador. Hindi pala, pagka medyo maluwag. Sige, Ambassador, baka gusto mo sagutin yung sinasabi niya, yung comment.
Yeah, ako rin gustong-gusto ko lang meet ng mga Pilipino. Sabi ko akong tatay na rito. So, alam mo, bilang isang tatay, gusto yung mga anak kong kita
Tama. Kaya pala tatay ang tawag sa kanya ni Joey Santiago ba? Tama, ano? Okay, Ludi, thank you, ha? Maraming salamat, ha?
Salamat
at mabuhay.
din po.
Ingat sa pagmamaneho, ha? Sige. Ayan,
Opo,
mga kaibigan, si
opo.
Ludi,
Sige po.
no? Samson. Ayan, napakasipag. Conje, nakita mo naman yung mga inyong mga ano ba tawag? Tama ba? Constituents, tama ba yung PEPS? O yung mga nasasakupan o yung mga Pinoy na nasa inyong no? Poder. Ayan, ang mga kaibigan natin. May tanong dito. May tanong lang po. Ayan. Tanong lang po sa mga ma'am and sir. Ask ko lang po kung bakit
kailangan pa magpa-red ribbon ng document sa Germany pa. Which is meron naman po tayong embassy dito sa Czech Republic.
Aristotle Ian Pagdenganan. Ano ibig sabihin niya? Parang bitin yan, parang part 2. Kumbaga nanonood ng TV, pelikulan. Ending na eh. Anong sinasabi niyang
Kailangan
red
bang
ribbon?
sa Germany?
Anong
Ang
red ribbon?
Okay.
Conjen. Yes.
Alam mo, wala na tayong red ribbon ngayon eh. But what they are probably, ang naisip ko lang kasi it used to be na yung ating mga pinapanotaryo, pinapa-authenticate, may red ribbon at gold seal. Pero ngayon, wala na yung red ribbon na yan, gold seal na lang. So, Depende. Kung magpapanotaryo kayo, all you have to do is to bring the document to be notarized and a photocopy of your ID, which is a passport or a valid driver's license, etc. Hindi nyo kailangan magpunta sa Germany. Tapos, yung authentication, halos wala na tayong authentication because ang Czech Republic is a member of the Apostille Convention. So the moment na may apostille certificate na yung inyong document, hindi na kailangan dumaan pa yan dito sa Philippines. It can be presented as is when you use it in the Philippines.
Okay. Konjan, ito
Accepted
meron dito
na.
si Mary Jane. Ito, sana ibalik po na dyan sa...
Yeah, sana po ibalik na dyan sa Philippine Embassy Prague ang attaché para po tulad noong dati, mas malapit magpa-apostil. No?
Ano kaya ibig sabihin niya? Because
Kaya nga, dahil
yung,
red ribbon din yun, hindi ba?
right. But I think I think ang ibig ninyong sabihin is verification of employment contract. Kasi an attaché, okay, let me just clarify. An attaché does not have a consular commission. That means an attaché cannot sign any documents that are under oath. So only a consul can do that. So a vice consul, a consul general can sign those types of documents. So yung mga
With oath.
acknowledgement, yung mga jurat, yan. Tapos pag authentication certificates also, we have, let's say, a signing officer, but also a vice consul, a consul, and a consul general will have to sign that one. Now, yung sinasabi ninyong verification of employment contract, that is another story because only a labor attaché can verify that employment contract. So kaya pinapadala yan sa Polo Berlin because we do not have in our mandates the verification of an employment contract. Only the Philippine Overseas Labor Office can sign that, can verify that one. So, ang magandang balita is darating na nga yung ating labor attaché. Actually, sa November 3 ang dating niya. Hopefully, matuloy yung flight because of course we have this pandemic. But the moment that she arrives, all the verification of employment contracts will now be in the Czech Republic, will be in Prague for Czech employment.
May mabuhay ang Czech Republic, no? Ang Philippine Embassy sa Czech Republic dahil mapapalawak na yung inyong mga services sa ating mga kababayan. They don't have to go to Berlin anymore, doon sa Polo, no?
Yung pala yung
Philippine
sinasabi
Overseas
ni
Labor Office.
Aristotle kanina na pumupunta pa ng Berlin, no?
Ayun, oo.
At
Doon
si
na,
Mary Jane din, no?
Yes, oo.
Yeah,
Diyan
that's
na.
actually all employment-related contracts go to Polo Berlin.
Ayan.
So,
Pwede na
let's
rin.
say employment contract, OEC, job order, lahat ng employment, basta anything employment-related will have to go to Polo Berlin hanggat wala pa yung ating labor attaché dito.
And yung kamukha nila, Ludi Samson, they can direct these questions. Baka gusto nilang for more clarification, itanong na lang doon sa labor attaché, baka ma-research
Pagdating.
yung labor attaché, matulungan, no? Kung pwede, o maipaliwanag na ito ang mga sistema, hindi pwedeng ganyan direkta because we have to protect the employers. the
Maski
rights
yung
of
employer
employees.
niya, pwede nang tumawag diretso sa labor attaché dito,
Pwede
no?
na. Oh, pwede
Sa
na.
Prague.
Yes.
Yes.
Hindi pala Aristole.
Sorry, Aristole pala. Aristole ba?
Actually,
Sorry
Wala.
Aristotle. Kami na Aristotle kasi sa
actually
biglang tingin.
matagal na sana yan na dapat
Yes, Ambassador.
magkaroon ng label attaché dito. Kaya lang, yung unang nominee lang Dolly sa pagka-label attaché,
Na-reject?
at tinabaho na namin yun dito, actually may visa na eh.
Okay.
Pero, hindi namin alam bakit hindi nila pinadala, pinalitan.
Baka
So,
na-reject nga sa sa Senate, sa hearing, sa sa
Hindi,
Congress.
wala naman, hindi
Nag-change,
naman yung
nag-change.
commission of pin.
Hindi dumadaan
So,
doon. Oo, hindi ka
may
naman
visa na yun eh.
ambassadors.
May visa na.
Okay.
Pangalawa, pinalitan nila. Ganon din. Tinrabaho namin dito. Lang pwede nang umalis, pinalitan naman, pangatlo. Lang pangatlong kan,
Okay na.
medyo yung credential niya na mayroon kami nakita na gusto namin, yung ipadali rito, yung kasi una-una, konti lang ang tao rito, kaya dapat ang mga workers dito, efficient lahat. So, walang medyo di ba siya ng magandang walang resume niya. Sabi namin, magpadala ng iba.
Ito na, yung
O yan
pang-apat
na
na.
yung
Yung pang-apat.
na to.
Ito na yung huli.
Ito na yung huli. From the first ambassador, from the first yung hindi nagtaka kayo, hindi nyo alam kung anong nangyari, up to ito may darating na. Anong time yun? 2 taon? 1 taon? Yung pagnanais yun?
2 taon
2 years bago
Dalawa.
to come into fruition, magkaroon kayo ng labor attaché. Ayan. Okay. Alright. Direct, may ano pa ba dyan? May ano ba dyan? Nagpapasalamat si J. Bricks. J. Bricks. Pep, sabi ganun, no? Maraming thank you.
Oo nga, thank you for having me.
Oo. Si Jay, siya yan. Kaya pala. Mabuhay po kayo sa inyong programa. Sige, thank you. Marami. Sino pa ba? Pinoy Club. Oo, yan.
Pinoy Club. Nung pinag-uusapan natin kanina yung Pinoy Club, ano?
Ed Abdallah.
Si Ed Abdallah. No? Magandang gabi. Blessed Monday to all, especially sa mga host po namin ng Filipino TV Europe. No?
Uy,
Sa
thank
Kuwait
you.
yan, di ba si Ed?
Sa Kuwait. Oo. Kita mo si Ambassador tsaka si Conjen, no? All over the world, no? Kita mo nga naman. Di ba? Hindi lang kayo pang Czech Republic, pang Europe at pang world pa. Ayan, no? That's good. At least they get to know na, Pilipinas pa.
Pilipinas
Oh.
pa. No?
Manonood yung nanay.
Batiin ko rin
at
lang,
mga asawa.
Sunny, nanonood
Yeah,
pala.
go ahead.
Yung aking asawa, si Julie. No?
Julie.
Narinig ko. Sabi ko parang may echo. Nanonood pala sa itaas. She's in the bedroom, andito
Good,
sa
good.
baba.
Mabuhay ka, Julie, ha? Oo, mabuhay. Kasama namin si Ambassador Jainal and si Conjen Banyares, no? Ayan. Di ba? Pagka na
Kay Ludi
interview
Samson,
natin
salamat po, Sir Sunny and Sir
Oo.
Peps. No?
Ano ito? Ano ito? Message nito? Maraming salamat po.
Si Annalyn Iswara, maraming
Iswara.
salamat po.
Ayan. Okay.
Yan, yung mga pahabol. Siguro, tapos na yung mga pahabol, no?
Pahabol, oo. Well, magpapasalamat tayo. Baka, siguro bago tayo magpasalamat sa inyo, baka meron kayong nais pang ihatid, ipaalam, Ambassador at Conjen sa ating mga kababayan na hindi namin naitanong at hindi rin siguro nila naitanong at may nais kayong i-anunsyo. Go right ahead, please. Mauna ka muna siguro, Conjen, bago si Ambassador na ending natin. Sige. Conjen, sige. Baka may nais pa kayong i-anunsyo pa.
Lahat ng mga dapat ipaalam mo na.
Okay. Okay, salamat Sunny and Peps sa isang napakagandang pagkakataon ulit para maipailiwanag sa ating mga kababayan ang ating mga rules and regulations and programs and activities of the embassy. And as the ambassador mentioned earlier, hopefully we will soon have a gathering as well because we want to continue the tradition of having an end-of-year program with the Filipino community. And hopefully by December, when if the epidemiological situation allows it, then we can have our year-end gathering with the Filipino community where we can explain the programs of the International Organization for Migration, who told us that they are willing to explain their programs and activities to the Filipino community. Number two, we can also introduce our incoming labor attaché, and she can already explain to you the programs and activities of the Office of the Labor Attaché in the Czech Republic. And as well, the third but not the least, we can explain to you again our consular services. As we have mentioned before, we want to be very transparent with you, with the Filipino community in the Czech Republic, with regard to the programs and activities that we do for you and for the benefit of the whole community. Just to let you know, there was before an inquiry about the social security agreement between the Philippines and the Czech Republic. Immediately after our first show, we followed it up with our Office of European Affairs, and indeed we found out that since the time that the negotiations opened, much has been done already, and hopefully, while there was no in-person meeting, there were exchanges online between the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs and our social security system when it comes to the provisions of the agreement. So hopefully we will soon have a social security agreement signed between the Philippines and the Czech Republic. And this will benefit all our Filipino workers in the Czech Republic. The second one is we wish to inform you that we will continue working for, let's say, the entry of Filipino nurses to the Czech Republic, together with the relevant ministries in the Czech Republic, and also with our Department of Labor and Employment in the Philippines. It is still in its early stages, but hopefully we could really adopt the Philippines-Germany triple win project so that it will benefit more Filipinos in the Czech Republic. And then the last one is that hopefully all of you Filipino workers who intend to return to the Philippines for the holiday season would get vaccinated first, so that we also help our government in its efforts, in its campaign to return the Philippine population to a very good state of health, and return our economy as well to growth. And I can say this as much during the meeting of the Foreign Minister of the Czech Republic with the Asian Ambassadors Group. There is a very significant interest to do business with the Philippines. And so being vaccinated will help us get back to business with all our partners, not only in the Czech Republic, but from the rest of the world, or with the rest of the world. So thank you, and hopefully we get to see each other soon in December. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
yun.
you.
Kayo, to get together in December yung mga Pinoy dyan. And hopefully tayo we get together na siguro in the new year na, no? Parang ano, no? Ba, good news, ang dami palang ginagawa PEPS ng ano, dyan sa, mo, itong social security agreement ba yun? Tama ba yun? And then the nurses, ang dami niyong ginagawa. Bilib na bilib ako dyan sa grupo ninyo, no? And, baka PEPS, baka magulat tayo. Makadinig tayo na may trade attaché or trade officer na dyan dahil sabi nga to do business. Tama ba yan, Conjen? Ha? Conjen, to do business in the Philippines?
Yes, to do business. Actually, so many Czech companies are actually interested to invest in the Philippines. So we have been working. Actually, I was just in Brno last week, where there is interest among manufacturing companies to do business in the Philippines. So I was inviting them to invest in the Philippines, and hopefully it comes to fruition.
Galing, magaling. Maraming PEPS, maraming nakaabang na. Well, yung social security.
Industrial country.
And then yung nurses, hopefully magkaroon na. And then tong sa businesses. So, magaling, magaling. Ambassador, during your time, a lot of things are happening. Baka may nais ka idagdag, final words mo at thank you,
yes,
no?
Before we go.
Conjen, no? Yes, go ahead, Ambassador. Final words or anything you'd like to add on?
I told Indy, go ahead, please make all the necessary announcement that has to be done now. So I'd like I just like to mention this, that maybe not a few country is like Czech Republic, where the number of Filipinos doubled during the pandemic time. Many countries, the number of Filipino population even increased by big numbers. But here, we doubled the number of Filipinos in the Czech Republic. That's one. Second, despite the pandemic, we managed to move forward our relationship with the Czech Republic. For instance, the defense cooperation MOU was already signed in Manila. It was supposed to be signed here, but because of some problems, the minister and the secretary and the undersecretary of the Department of Defense in Manila were not able to come here. So the Czech government authorized their ambassador in Manila to sign the agreement for and in behalf of the Czech government. So we have now a formalized MOU between the government of the Republic of the Philippines and the Czech Republic on defense. And we have also signed another agreement. In addition, we have also managed to penetrate some market here. For instance, just last month, even the Czech ambassador in Manila came here when the Chamber of Commerce was having a program where all the employers and the association were represented. And I and the Consul General were given the opportunity to address the program. And we did not waste the time, the opportunity. We invited everybody to invest in the Philippines and explain to them why it should be good for them. And the Consul General was ready with their statistics. So, just about a week ago, I met some people from the media here, and he told me our invitation was favorably received by many employers. So I'm happy to inform you that despite the pandemic, we're moving. Despite the pandemic and the limited numbers of our people here, we are not intimidated by what should be done. In fact, as chairman of the Asian group of ambassadors here, just last week, we have a meeting with the Foreign Minister of Czech Republic and all the head of missions of the Asian countries represented here in the Czech Republic. That include China, Japan, Korea, India. These are big countries where we are the chair. So in that conference, we talked the possibility of increasing trade between our countries and Europe, not only between the Philippines and Czech Republic, but Europe. It looks like the Czech government is very interested, not just in the Philippines, but in the entire region. And we have to remember that in 2022, it will be the Czech that will chair the European Council. So we have to remember that Czech will play a very important part insofar as our trade relation with the European community. For that reason, I think emphasis must be given to Czech Republic. Every effort must be done to make the Philippine position here visible.
Okay, Ambassador, yes. Maganda ang tandem ninyo. It's beautiful. All of this news that you're telling us. And chairman ka pala kayo. Well, saludo tayo, PEPS, kay Ambassador. Chairman of all the ASEAN
Siya palang
ambassadors.
chair, no?
Oo. And tama yung sinasabi nyo. Czech is playing a big role now because in the next, leadership will be coming sa EU, no? Will be coming from the Czech Republic. Mahusay yan. Kaya dapat, kasi Brexit tayo, Peps, wala na tayo sa ano. Pero pupunta tayo dyan. Sige, let's maganda dyan, no? Ambassador Jainal, Conjen Banyares, maraming salamat po sa inyo. Thank you very much.
Maraming salamat.
For the second round that we had. I'm sure, the third time and, fourth time, makasama namin kayo. Hanggang kailan ka, Conjen, dyan? Kailan ang tour of duty mo?
Actually, my tour of duty ends in 2025, I believe.
Oh, matagal pa.
2025.
Matagal pa. Good. Okay. Ambassador, kailan ang tour of duty nyo? Hanggang kailan? Tatay. Tatay.
By the end of June.
Next year pa. Okay. Well, matagal-tagal pa kay Tatay. Ang dami nyo ng accolades sa tour, Ambassador. You are the Tatay. You are the chairman of the ASEAN ambassadors. That's a big honor for us. I'm proud, truly proud.
Asian, not ASEAN, Asian.
Asian.
Asian, hindi ASEAN. Mas malaki pa.
ASEAN,
Mas malaki.
Mas malaki ang Asian dahil Chinese at saka Indians.
Yeah.
Kasama.
Yeah,
Yung
lahat
mga
yan.
economic
Ang
superpowers
ASEAN
yan.
kasi Southeast Asia.
Asia.
Yes.
Kaya pala sinabi niyo Asian. Okay. Alright. Mas maganda. Mas malaki, no? So, thank you very much, Ambassador, for this opportunity that we get to get together again at saka Conjen Indira Banyares dito sa ating programa. And sana hindi kayo magsawa sa aming imbitasyon sa inyo na makasama namin dito sa aming programa. At next time, hopefully, baka hindi lang kayo merong labor attaché, baka may trade attaché kayo, may defense attaché pa kayo, no? Kompleto, diba? Merong defense pact ba tayo, Ambassador? Ano yan? They will help us when we are under attack? Is that
No,
what defense?
in terms of support of
Logistics, mga arms, ganyan?
logistics, yes, that includes armament,
Armaments?
even aircraft.
Personnel? Military? Army? Ganun?
Aircraft, yeah.
Okay, good. Well, magaling pala.
In
Nandahan kay
fact,
Ambassador.
the Philippine Air Force Commanding General was here, and he tried some of the aircraft here. Himself, he tried it.
Himself. Talaga. Okay. Wow, magaling, Well, congratulations, Ambassador, Marami na pala kayo achievements yan. Yung mga kunikwento ninyo, mga agreements, yung mga working on the pushing for the nurses eventually, patterned after the German style. Tama ba? German, di ba? Parang ganun, no? So, magawa natin. Mabuhay ho kayo. Pag hindi na tayo nagkita, Merry Christmas sa usin ng dalawa. No? Baka next year na tayo magkita uli for another round. But tingnan natin.
See you sa round 3.
Sa round 3, hopefully makasama namin kayo uli. Or within December, hindi natin malaman.
Inaasahan ko, ipagkita natin ulit, hindi na lang ganito, kundi in person na.
Peps,
Uy, tayo magkape.
Person. Face to face. At kanina, Sunny, pinag-uusapan lang natin, we'd like to welcome Ambassador Eddie De Vega who is watching now, no?
Ambassador De Vega.
Amba-Ed, no?
Pinag-uusapan lang natin. Nakagat niya yung dila niya siguro. Sabi niya, mukhang nakagat ko yung dila ko.
Si Christian Estrada, nanonood din ngayon.
At saka
ng
ni Sunny.
NFID.
Mabuhay kayo, no? Yung presidente, chairman ng NFID, nanonood sa atin.
Yung past chair ng NFID UK.
Congratulations,
no?
Ambassador Conjen,
Estrada.
for another informative interview. Munir, thank you very much, no? Mabuhay. Marami tayong natutunan dyan sa ambassador, sa embahada ng Pilipinas, no?
Itong sa iyo, he will be our next congressman in 2nd District of Sulu.
Well,
Kasi wala siyang
Congressman?
Umuwi siya para magkandidato, pero wala siyang
Oh.
opponent ngayon sa distrito nila. He's
Okay.
the only candidate.
Walang lumaban.
Wala.
Congratulations ha, Congressman Munir, no? Mabuhay ba? Kita mo nga naman. Ang dami nating nadagdag na friends, Peps. Meron na tayo ngayon susunod na congressman for next year, no? So thank you very much again, Consul General Indira Banyares, Ambassador Ombra Jainal. Maraming salamat po. It's truly an honor for both me and Peps to have you on the program. Maraming salamat po.
Salamat.
Ayan. Mga kaibigan, Ambassador Jainal or Jainal and Conjen Banyares. Ayan po. Okay, thank you. Ayan, salamat. Well,
Thank you.
Till next time. Ayan, no? Makita natin. Ayan, so makakaway. Ambassador, pakaway natin si Ambassador. Kumakaway si Ambassador. Ayan. Ayan. Okay. Sige, maraming salamat. Maraming salamat. Okay. Naku, dami palang big time pala ang Czech Republic, Peps. No?
Oo.
Dami silang nagagawa. Marami silang achievements. Hindi
Kaya
hindi pala-
tama na nga. Talagang it's time dahil ang karamihan sa kanila mga OFW no? Ang majority ng nandun is OFW. So it's just right na magkaroon na ng polo OWA doon, no?
Ayan.
Office.
Nagpapasalamat to. May mga last mga pahabol. Sige, ayan ba? Sabi niya, thank you po. Yan, sa Filipino TV Europe at sa aming butihing ambassador at sa lahat ng mga staff sa
lahat ng
pagsagot
mga staff.
ng aming sagot, aming tanong. May God bless po.
God
Oo.
bless po. Mary Jane,
Tayo.
ano?
1
Thank
is
you
to
rin, Mary
500.
Jane, ano?
1:500 sila. Nung araw,
Oh, hindi
1 is
natin
to-
napasalamatan si Manny.
Sino Manny? Sino Manny?
Yung sa embassy, sa Czech Republic, sa embassy.
Si
Siya
Manny,
yung
oo nga pala,
nag-o-off
the
yung
guy.
sound at
Oo,
nag-o-on,
the guy.
no?
Oo. Ay, hindi pa naman tayo nagpapaalam. Magpaalam na pala
Yung
tayo.
ating
Sige.
technical
Oo,
assistant
technician.
doon sa embassy.
Oo nga. Naku, napagod yan dahil on and off yan eh. Di ba? Pagka magsasalita
Oo.
si Conjen, papatayin niya yung, ano siya? Siya ang audio engineer today. Si Manny.
Oh, siya yung ating sound engineer.
Sound engineer. Oo, yan. Oh. Sige, mabuhay ka, Manny, ha? At despite yung medyo short-staffed ang embassy, hopefully maintindihan niyo mga kababayan. Pero, effectively, they had more. Yung 1 year na 2020, na walang pandemic, in 3 quarters,
Hindi, may pandemic, pero
hindi,
ano
yun nga. Yung last,
tinalo
yung walang
ng
pandemic na
tinalo
1 year,
ng
hindi, yung nga,
Oo.
1 year na walang pandemic, ito kunyari output nila, kunyari lang, 100. Pagdating na may pandemic, hindi pa isang taon pa, may pandemic pa, 3 quarters of the year pa lang, let's say, almost double, parang mas mataas ang statistics.
ano na.
Di ba?
Naka 129 na sila, no? Based
Parang ganun,
on
yung
the
mas
statistics,
naging
no?
efficient enough or mas productive, di ba? May partida pa yon, may pandemic pa yon. And 3 quarters pa, hindi pa 1 year yon. Compared to the output of the previous year, non-pandemic. Di ba? So, mahusay yung tandem ni Ambassador Jainal at si Conjen. Kita mo naman, no? Pinaliwanag niya. No? Sabi niya, no, pwede ba mag-recruit ng direksyon? Hindi, teka muna, mayroong mga reasons yan. Dadaan sa ministry, yung employer mo ba, kailangan dumaan sa ganun. May mga maraming, alam niya sinasabi niya dahil galing na Middle East yan, Peps eh. Alam niya yung mga proteksyon ng mga employees. Nakikita niya, kaya, there are no shortcuts to protection of the welfare of the employees.
Of the
Kung gusto niyo
Filipino
maka-shortcut,
worker.
makatipid ang ibang mga employer, pwede, pero kawawa yung Pilipino. So, yun naman ang tama namang ginagawa ng embahada to safeguard the welfare, the rights, the safety, whatever, lahat na ho ng ating mga kababayan. Sila ho yung, kaya nga tatay ang tawag, Peps, tatay. Nagulat ako, tatay.
Tatay.
Yun pala ibig sabihin si tatay. Binati ni Jay. Si tatay po, yun pala. Tama nga naman, tatay. Okay, well, may babati ka ba ba? Peps, paalam na tayo.
Papaalam na siguro tayo, no? Huwag niyo pong kalimutan, next week, nandito uli kami, no? From 3 o'clock in the afternoon, UK time, embassy natin, kaibigan mo, dito lang po sa Filipino TV Europe, Facebook, at YouTube channel, no? Pwede ho niyong panoorin sa Facebook, pwede niyong panoorin sa YouTube. Live ho pareho yan. Sabay na sabay, no? So, dito lang. So, at yung mga nagtanong sa atin, nakakatuwa naman, no? At least iba-iba yung kinover, no? Marami tayong kinover sa mga question and answer. Ano? So, maraming salamat doon sa mga nagtanong kanina, Annalyn, si Jay, si Ludi, at pati si Marisa, no? Kahit hindi siya nakarating, pero nagtanong pa rin, no? At syempre, yung ating sa studio, si Paula, maraming salamat, no? Okay.
Okay, well.
See you next week.
See you next week. Okay, well, I guess it's time for us to say goodbye. Magpapasalamat ho kami, no? At sana nag-enjoy ho kayo dito sa ating episode na kasama ho natin ang embahada ho ng Czech Republic. At iikot ho ulit kami, no? Kanila Ambassador Jainal and Conjen Banyares, no? Indira Banyares, Ambassador Ombra Jainal. So, sa ngalan ho ni PEPS Villanueva, ng ating mga panauhing pandangal, Ambassador Jainal, Conjen Banyares, si Manny din, pasalamatan din natin siyempre, at sa lahat ho ng mga sumali ho, no, naging participants for today. Hindi ko nababanggitin ang mga pangalan nyo, 4 yan. Baka mamisa ko isa, pero maraming salamat to. At sa ngalan ng ating producer and director na si Paula Perez, ito po si Sonny Laragan nagsasabing thank you very much ho sa inyong walang pagsubaybay. Ingat ho, take care always, and see you next time. God bless. Thank you very much to World Remit. Maraming salamat to sa inyong pagsubaybay, pagtangkili ko sa aming programa. So till then, thank you very much. God bless and keep well and safe always. Bye.
Bangon na niluluto ko Paborito ko yan.
Sa World Remit, naiintindihan namin ang iyong paglalakbay. Na minsan, kailangan lumayo upang makamit ang tagumpay. With ways to save more. When you send more, World Remit is here for you. So you can be there for them.